Yeah, so speaking of the ship, like all the fire that's going on, back and forth, like ends up fucking the ship up, and the ship goes down, and Mirage is like, "Well, see you later, fuckers," and like literally parachutes out.
He gets up. He was shot earlier, but he just opens up the door and he's like, "I'll say hello to Prime for you later."
Peace.
Yeah,
Jumps
Megatron
out.
screams,
Fucking
"Stop
parachute.
him!" Drops
See,
out like a badass.
yeah.
Fuck.
Just imagine like the ship, like mayhem going on behind him, and he's just all like, "I will deliver my regards to Optimus Prime." And then he leaps out, and you just see a shot
Do
of
do
him
do
like fly,
do.
and you hear like doo 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 doo. Dun, 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 dun. I like that you knew where I was going with that.
As soon as you said parachute.
Too much energy.
Striving to save the world from the evil Decepticons, the heroic Autobots are led by Optimus Prime. He's more than meets the eye, he's a robot in disguise. Going ballistic to destroy the Autobots and conquer mankind, the evil Decepticons are more than meets the eye. Heroic Autobots versus evil Decepticons with the fate of planet Earth hanging in the balance. Transformers Generation 2. And now, through the magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced stories of the Transformers. Transformers Generation 2.
Greetings, Autobots and Decepticons. Welcome back to Too Much Energon, the weekly podcast where we review every episode of Beast Wars ever in production order, starting from the beginning. I am one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
I am another host, NeoCal.
And this week on Too Much Energon, despite what I just said, we are actually not reviewing Beast Wars at all. If you've been following along with us, you'll know that the latest episode of or the previous episode of Too Much Energon, we covered the agenda, part 1, 2, and 3, where our heroes discovered the Autobot Ark, which carried the stasis-locked bodies of the Autobots and Decepticons, sleeping soundly on planet Energon. So, since we're at a point now in Beast Wars where we're actually tying into the beginning of the original G1 Transformers cartoon, we thought, wouldn't it be fun to just like maybe go back in time, say 4 million-ish years, and talk about G1 at least for 1 week. So here we are on Too Much Energon. We're taking a blast from the past and going back in time 4 million years to the year 1984.
Dawn of Man.
To the year 4
4
million
million
years.
years.
Going back 4 million years to the year 1984 for Transformers More Than Meets the Eye parts 1, 2, and 3, which originally aired September 17th, 18th, and 19th, 1984.
Coincidence?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, are these something.
Yeah, these are
Fast-paced.
these are
Fast-paced.
these are wild to go back to.
Yes.
Especially after having spent like almost a year now watching through Beast Wars.
It's interesting to think that human beings wrote the plot for More Than Meets the Eye, the little 3-parter that opens up Generation 1.
Human beings and not Cybertronians.
Yes, because there's some wild, crazy, like, sci-fi concepts going on here.
Okay.
And this really interesting plot. Like the whole, like, them crashing on Earth and then chilling for 4 million years.
Yeah.
I find really intriguing.
Yeah. I have
And the
things
fact that this is all tying into War for Cybertron
Oh yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, the Netflix animated series War for Cybertron, which seems to be kind of a retelling of the G1 continuity.
Like zoomed in more detail.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the war on Cybertron leading up to when they leave on the Ark.
Yeah, when they leave and end
It's
up crash
kind of
landing
cool
on
seeing all this
planet
come
Energon.
together. Planet Energon, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be talking about those on this podcast eventually. But tonight we are talking about G1, More Than Meets the Eye. Da 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 da.
We are. It is high. It is fast-paced romp.
So to get the ball rolling, we open on an alien planet.
Millions of years ago.
Millions of years ago. A planet we now know to be Cybertron. It's pretty technological looking and pretty thrashed. Got some fire going on. Looks like
Part of it is blown up.
yeah, it looks like it's been really put through the ringer. And we got a couple of Transformers, Wheeljack and Bumblebee, and they're grabbing these like what kind of look like glowing fluorescent lamps. Or
I mean,
they grab them from out
not
from
wrong.
from under this like random grate on the road.
I never noticed that. You just like loot the road.
Yeah, they're just like it's like okay, they're just like stealing. They're just stealing these fluorescent light bulbs from under the road. Well, if you even look at the shot too, like these bulbs are like glowing orange, and under the road, like under the grate, is also glowing orange. These are literally fucking light bulbs.
I think it's funny too that they both don't transform and get the fuck out of there. Bumblebee stays in his robot form and just jumps into the back.
Yeah, Wheeljack Wheeljack transforms into a like hover minivan. And
yeah,
Bumblebee climbs into the back, and then they float away.
the painted backgrounds are, or maybe they're not painted, but like the backgrounds for this, holy cow, it is beautiful. Reminds me of 70s like sci-fi art.
Yeah, it reminds me of like
I mean, which I guess it is.
yeah. What it reminds me of is like a lot of like late 70s Japanese sci-fi anime, like films like Galaxy Express 999.
I can see that.
Yeah. And that's the example that I brought up because that's literally the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, just very detailed, very cool looking sci-fi backgrounds.
Yeah.
That a lot of painters did at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fantasy and sci-fi art of the 70s into the 80s. It just has a style, it has a look, and I still love it.
That heavy metal style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Wheeljack. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so Wheeljack and Bumblebee are stopped by the Decepticons, the Seekers. So we got Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, just like shooting at them because reasons. They want they want their energy or something.
They want their energy. Like going into it blind, you're like, what is this? I noticed the way that the lines are drawn, how they're kind of like vectored, like stretched out as if they're in like MS Paint. How like the diagonal lines actually aren't straight. They're kind of like,
oh yeah,
like anti-aliasing issues. Was this done? Like this was done on a computer program of some sort, and I'm really curious how they animated this now.
I think it's just traditional like hand-drawn cell animation.
It's just the way that the diagonal lines are so jagged, right?
That that might be because like we're for the listeners, we're watching this on Tubi.tv. That might be because we're watching like an SD copy that's being like up-resed to HD.
Oh, so you're wondering if it has something to do with like
Just
the
the
up-res.
just the up-resing process. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
And it looked normal on the projection TVs at the time.
Yeah.
I like how Bumblebee takes cover. Like he gets out of Wheeljack, who stays in his vehicle form, and he uses Wheeljack as cover.
I like how so Bumblebee like transforms into like this weird like I don't know, it's this weird looking like hover vehicle.
Yeah.
And he gets like shot and then ends up like in the back of Wheeljack again, and Wheeljack is basically asks him what's wrong, and he's like, I think it's my rear axle. And I'm like, you don't have wheels.
He has no wheels.
You don't have wheels, dude. You float.
Yeah, because right now they're very sci-fi. They don't
Yeah.
resemble anything on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're especially Bumblebee. He's in like a little hover craft, like a UFO shaped hover craft.
Yeah. Yeah. His
Catch. Yeah, a wheel comes out.
No,
We're
did
watching
it?
this, folk. A wheel at 3 seconds. We're watching it on Tubi.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to follow along, we're at 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Oh, he gets shot, and the underside opens up, reveals like an axle, and one of his wheels fly out.
I didn't even notice that. But like, he's floating.
Why did he have a wheel?
Why were there wheels? I don't understand.
He doesn't have wheels for when they're not hovering.
For when he gets tired.
Tired of hovering? Is he like Transmetal Rat Trap? Sometimes he's got feet. Sometimes he just puts down his wheels.
Maybe. Who can say? None of these questions and more will be answered on Too Much Energon.
They really won't. So he just like, what was that video game where you could go into the back of the truck and like heal a little bit, and like it was like a 2D like racer, and you could get away from the police and heal a little bit by getting in the back of a truck and then coming back out.
Oh, I have no idea.
Uh,
That sounds vaguely familiar.
inside of a video game where you...
Also, I feel I must apologize to the listeners because both me and Cal are dealing with some pretty wicked allergies at the moment.
Yeah.
So might hear a little more sniffling than usual.
Don't worry, we'll edit it all out, I'm sure.
Yes.
I want to say, like, I don't know why I can't think of it. Knight Rider? No, it's a TV show.
Spy Hunter.
How did you remember? Yes, thank you. Specifically, it was right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, Spy Hunter. Yeah,
You specifically were in the red car, and you could avoid like police and like heal a little bit and like get inside of like this like truck.
I've played Spy Hunter in the arcade. And
yeah, Spy Hunter.
I remember back in like 2005, I think it was, they rebooted Spy Hunter for like
They
PS2.
did. Oh, it sucked.
That's what I heard, yeah. And like I think the Rock was in the game like a little bit in some cutscenes because he was supposed to be in a movie, but then the game like came out and flopped, so they're like, we're not gonna bother making a movie based on this.
Wow. And so Bumblebee going in the back of staying in vehicle mode and going into the back of, I've already forgotten his name. I'm terrible.
Wheeljack.
Wheeljack. Is it Wheeljack?
It is Wheeljack, yeah.
He has no wheels right now. Oh, they're hiding inside of him, right?
Yeah, clearly, yes.
Yeah. Reminds me
Maybe,
of Spy Hunter.
maybe he'll get shot and we'll see one of his wheels too. Just go flying out. I can't believe I didn't notice that.
That brings me such joy that I caught that. A wheel flies out of him. What were they thinking? The animators, like, okay, he doesn't have a wheel, but hear me out. When he gets shot, one of his wheels flies off.
To be a fly on the wall in that board, like that writer's room meeting.
It's not even nearly the weirdest thing that happens. So they get back to HQ, and we reveal that Soundwave, which is arguably one of the best designed Transformers in G1, in my opinion.
Real
It's got a
quick,
very strong silhouette.
real quick, I want to point out the iconic transition screen.
Oh, yeah.
With the logo. It'll have like one of the factions logo and it'll play that music like and the logo will flip over to the faction's logo that is going to be the subject of the scene that we're about to go in. So it's like we've been focusing.
Oh, I thought it was always random. So it switched from
Autobot
to Decepticon.
Yeah, so it's like if we spend a scene like focusing on the Autobots, when the transition, but the next scene is going to focus on the Decepticons mostly. Like,
You think I would have noticed that?
and sometimes like if it goes from like an Autobot scene to another Autobot scene, like we'll still get a transition screen, but the Autobot logo will just flip over to another Autobot logo.
I'm amazed I didn't notice that. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, so in this case, it switches from an Autobot to a Decepticon logo.
Yeah. Because
Because
as you
Soundwave.
mentioned, we get to meet Soundwave.
What was he pretending to be? He had his like arms out and his head tucked in, like he was just pretending to be a lamp, street lamp or something. Because he doesn't look like
Sure.
anything. It's one of those things where just pretend, like try not to stand out, hide in plain sight.
Maybe he's
Speak-
supposed to be. I don't know.
A piece of debris, like part of the road. Yeah.
Maybe he is supposed to be, because immediately following him is a bridge that then retracts. So maybe he's supposed to be like some kind of. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That's just up.
Yeah.
So he pushes his arms out and his head comes back out.
And then his chest opens up and he ejects a cassette tape that turns into a like flying creature.
A flying creature, and he calls it Laserbeak.
Yeah. Yeah, and Laserbeak goes and observes the Autobots and who are going up an elevator. And yeah, we get to meet Optimus Prime and Jazz and Prowl and some other dude whose name I don't know. Worst Transformers fan ever.
I don't know who that. I'm even worse. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
So yeah, they Laserbeak records like the Autobots talking about their like plan. What was it? Their plan to leave Cybertron or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Their plan to leave Cybertron, and then we get to meet Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons, as well as Shockwave. And Megatron is all like, those damn Autobots. We need to follow them. Shockwave, yeah. I leave Cybertron. Yeah, I leave you in charge of Cybertron.
Good choice.
Yeah. And, yeah, Starscream says...
Shockwave is there for a sec.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said Soundwave. I'm leaving you in charge. No,
Maybe,
right, he's leaving Shockwave.
Maybe I did. I meant Shockwave.
Oh, yeah, I mixed their names up. They look very different. Shockwave is a piece of shit. I probably would have left Soundwave in charge. But he needs Soundwave.
Yeah. He's his right-hand man. He's his Scorponok, if you will.
It's like... So G1 Megatron is leaving Tarantulas, in charge of
Basically, yeah.
Cybertron.
Especially if you've watched the War for Cybertron cartoon, like Shockwave, like Shockwave is basically Tarantulas.
I don't know who I hate more. I don't. They're both very villainous.
Man, if you like when you watch the War for Cybertron Earthrise cartoon, like Shockwave did some shit in that series that actually I was like, holy shit, that's pretty fucking heinous.
Yeah, anyone listening, go check that out if you can. It's actually good. Even if like if you're listening to this, you're a Transformers fan anyway,
Yeah.
or at least a Beast Wars fan. But like I'm mostly a Beast Wars fan, not especially an overall like huge Transformers fan in any way. I know, shocking, and I have a podcast about it, but like I genuinely really think that the Netflix War for Cybertron series stands alone very well, like
Yeah.
very good.
It's better than any of them Michael Bay movies, let me tell you.
I don't know. Shia LaBeouf has like a girlfriend out of his league, and like his car is Bumblebee. Bumblebee can't talk. That's all you need to know. And then explosions happening.
Yeah.
They're in Egypt for some reason.
That first movie, okay, I'll say.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. The first one's not bad. I genuinely enjoy that for what it is. Although,
Yep.
now that I've
What are there? Five of them?
5 of them plus, well, 6 if you count Bumblebee.
I heard that was decent too.
It is, yeah. And like the first like 3 minutes of that film is set on Cybertron, and it's like I'm like and like
Can I just get this?
can I just get this? Yeah, because like the Transformers at the beginning of that movie, like we get to see like Prowl and RC and Optimus Prime, and
Oh,
they actually like look like movie versions of like how you would expect like the actual G1 characters, not the like jumbled like metallic like steak knife mess that the Transformers in the Michael Bay
sharp,
films
dangerous
Yeah.
mess, like made out of 10,000 polygons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who? Somebody told Michael Bay like, "Hey, sometimes less is more," and he was like, What did you? Get him out of here."
Yeah. Yeah, I want this piece of shit off of my set right now.
Banned for life.
And just
I'm
because
just
he
a
said that
mailman,
to me,
sir.
and just because that motherfucker said that to me, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what he recommended. Fuck that guy.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
But yeah, since I've been like actually like starting to collect Transformers figures again for the past like 6 months or so, and I've gotten like reaccustomed to like modern interpretations of like the G1 designs. Whenever I see
Yeah.
like those Michael Bay Transformers now, I'm just like, ugh.
Even when they came out, I was like, it's a lot of parts. Seems like the maintenance on them would be monumentally expensive.
Too much maintenance, if you will.
Too much maintenance. So we get oh man, fuck, like I don't understand. There's so many times Megatron is lenient on Starscream when I would have pulled the plug on that asshole as soon as he revealed to me that he plans on taking over. Which, by the way, listeners, is right when you meet Megatron. Starscream
Yeah.
immediately challenges his like position, and he's like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, he says something like, "Oh, my time will come, Megatron," or something like that. And Megatron's
Yeah, and he's like, "Only few of us are destined to lead. Know your place."
yeah, basically.
But then that's it. They have that little like back and forth, and that's it. And I'm like, he's going to shoot you in the back one day. Starscream is such a man. I thought this makes me appreciate Pterosaur more, because Pterosaur is the Starscream of Beast Wars.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
We've always
Yeah.
said that, right?
We've touched on that before,
But
yeah.
I like Pterosaur. But I don't like Starscream.
Oh, really?
Pterosaur's funny and cowardly and has a stupid he has a stupid pterodactyl hop. And
Yeah.
he's goofy and he actually succeeds sometimes. He actually takes Optimus Primal out a few times. But like Starscream, it just shut up, dude. You don't like Pterosaur? No, just give him a moment. He's sneezing. He has graced us by muting his microphone. And he's back.
Yes, I thank you for letting people know, letting the people who are listening to
Is it
the
just-
audio version of the show know.
Just sitting here in silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like Pterosaur?
Oh, I love Pterosaur.
Do you like him more than Starscream?
Yes, I do like Starscream though as well.
Oh, so you like Starscream?
Yeah.
There's some things he does that I appreciate. My partner finds Starscream hilarious, like in how blatant and shameless he is about his displeasure with not leading.
I think he's hilarious in Transformers the movie specifically.
Yeah.
Like
I
when
him in
like
that.
when he's
Fair
holding like
enough.
the dying body of Megatron and he's about to like throw him into space and he's like, "Oh, how it pains me to do this," with a smirk on his face. And Megatron's
He's
like,
funny. I'll give him
like,
that.
"Wait, I still function. Wanna bet?" Throws him outside. And then he's like just does like with his
Well,
hands.
that's that.
And he's like, "Well, as Megatron, as, how shall we say, departed, I nominate myself as the new leader." And then he actually,
I
he ends
like
up winning, and he makes the Decepticons, like, give him a fucking coronation ceremony.
Oh my. Okay, no, I like him in the movie. Actually, you know what? No. I take it back. He does humorous things. Like you can see.
Yeah, he's
there's
just,
humorous things.
he's over the top. So the, speaking of over the top, the Autobots blast into space on the Ark, and the Decepticons give chase on their ship, the Nemesis, which I don't believe is named as such yet. I'm pretty sure it's Beast Wars that actually names it the Nemesis.
Oh, cool.
I think I mentioned that on our last podcast as well. But
You did.
Yeah.
So they take off in the Ark. It's kind of like a big gold, like half circle
Yeah,
type of thing. And what are they going to do to look for more energy sources?
there's a toy coming out of the Autobot Ark in
Yeah,
this
and it's
summer.
a transformer.
It's a transformer, and it's
Like it has a robot form.
$250
Canadian?
Canadian. I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
You are? Don't,
Yeah.
No,
I'm doing it.
you can't.
I'm gonna do it. This will
He's
be
gonna fucking do it.
this. I'm gonna fucking do it. This will be the Transformers purchase to end all Transformers purchases.
I don't purchase whether he likes it or not. Haven't been tempted on a lot of them, but I'm tempted on that big ass Optimus that transforms itself.
Oh, the $700 US one.
But I can't spend $1,000 on a transformer, man. But like the Ark, that's pretty fucking cool.
Well, they came out with
Tempted on that.
they came out with a War for Cybertron Unicron figure that stands, I think, like 30 inches tall or something like that. That's like $600.
Oh, I remember you
US.
showing me.
Yeah. The thing's massive, and like, to be perfectly honest, I would much rather like spend that kind of money on that over the Optimus Prime toy.
You know
the
what?
Optimus Prime robot, but
Holy shit! I remember you showing me this before. That is savage. It is huge.
it's massive. Yeah, I've seen
that
like
would take an hour to transform.
I've seen like unboxing videos of it and shit like that, and like it comes in planet mode, and like the planet is like the size of the dude's torso who is unboxing it. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of it now. It is this big. Like it is it is fucking chunky.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. If I was to buy anything, it would be like the Ark or the or Unicron. Probably not the self-transforming one, unless it was like $400 cheaper. Doubtful, but those two, yeah, definitely.
After that thing got announced last week, I had like literally like a dozen people message me on social media being like, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And I'm like, "Yes. Yes, I have."
Have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Thank you.
I appreciate the people were thinking of me, but
The Decepticon ship is purple and the Ark is gold.
yeah.
They're shaped so different. Like, why do you think the Nemesis is very like sci-fi-ish? Well, I mean, everything is on the show, but like, I really like the design for everything on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, the Ark is shaped like a good guy ship, and the Nemesis is shaped like a bad guy ship.
Yeah, the Nemesis has like sharp angles on it, and it's a dark color, and like it has thin like fins on it, like points and all of that. Whereas
it's very angular.
Yeah, whereas the Ark is much more to be honest, like the Ark is more like Star Trek looking.
Yes, with a very rounded front end. Yeah.
Yeah, like it actually
parts that taper.
And this predates Deep Space Nine, but like the design of it actually kind of reminds me of the Defiant a little bit.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Nemesis gives chase to the Autobot Ark, and yeah, they attack.
They go through an asteroid field? Meteor shower, they say, and I'm like, that's not a meteor shower. You're not on a planet, so it can't be a meteor shower. Okay, it's a small gripe. I guess I'll explain for listeners and Christopher.
Okay. Sorry, I just saw something in the episode that cracked me up.
So, when meteors are in space, they're meteoroids. When they're falling through the atmosphere, they're meteors. And after they've hit the ground, they're meteorites, right? So you can find a meteorite. You can't find a meteor. But you can see a meteor shower. Right? So space, meteoroid, atmosphere, meteor. When they're on the ground, they're meteorite. You can't have a meteor shower in space, literally. They can hit a meteoroid field, which is what they did. Anyways, small gripe. Moving on. That's something I learned in geology.
We were talking about that. Yeah. On the last episode of Too Much Energon.
It's something I learned in geology. You learn solar system and space terms and stuff like that too.
See, you learned. That's the kind of stuff you learned in geology.
Oh,
I learned about cleavage.
Different priorities.
If you want context for that, listeners/viewers, just go watch or listen to the last episode.
It's a doozy.
Yeah.
It's a season 2 finale. Holy shit, what a finale. So basically it's bad news bears. But the Ark fires a giant laser meteoroid field that like carves a path.
Yeah, they basically like use the deflector dish, to use Star Trek terms.
I mean, it's kind of what they do. Yeah, and they make it through. The Decepticons follow in their wake. Yeah, and for some reason, there's multiple like steering devices all throughout the Ark. So I'm just curious what they all do. You know, just like in Star Trek, there's different stations.
Yeah,
there's different stations with steering apparatus. So I'm like, well, Optimus has one in front of him, but someone else was piloting in the console in front of him. Whatever. Anyways, one of many interesting.
It's so at any time when necessary, literally anyone can take the wheel.
Why not? If you have to. Maybe when someone else's hands come off, it opens it up and other people can grab their own wheel.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a one of those little kid fake steering wheels, so they could feel like they're driving in the passenger seat.
Or maybe it's like they can, or like it. Maybe it's so they can take turns. You know, like if they're going on a road trip. Essentially, they're going on a road trip through space to find Energon.
You don't get tired and fall asleep and drive through a meteoroid.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then you hear that sound.
Yeah. That exactly.
So there's a scene that kind of reminds me of the Beast Wars. Starscream goes up to Megatron. He's sitting in his like captain's chair, and he goes, "Now blow them to pieces." And Megatron says, "No, we need to follow them and see where they were going first."
A little torment, I think, first. Cheers.
Oh, you're almost British for some reason. A little torment, I do think. We have time before tea.
Oh yes, I do believe it is. We do have time to deliver some torment to them Maximal chaps. Yeah.
What a different show it would have been if it came out in the UK. just saying.
What a different show it would have been if Megatron was voiced by the guy from the Beast Wars game.
G1 Megatron?
No, Beast Wars.
Yes, it would have been different.
You're like, it would have been different, and I would not be doing a podcast about it.
Probably not. So yeah.
So the
Decepticons make a magnetic junction.
Yeah, boarding party, and
I like that they're complaining about that the tractor beam is pulling them in. They've got a magnetic like bridge, right? And Optimus is just sitting there listening, and then he like turns and looks at the window and he goes, "Fire the laser!"
Fire the laser.
And I'm like, they're beside. What? So do you have one laser? I thought it was in front of you. It makes me feel like he has very rudimentary knowledge of what the ship can do. Fire the laser. We can't. They tell him. They're like, well, no, we can't.
I also like how this exact shot
boarding
loops.
suit.
Like this, the shot of him being like, "Fire the laser!" Like that shot loops over again.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, they reuse that exact same scene.
Yeah, literally, they just mirror it.
Yeah.
Huh.
And
so the boarding chute is a giant tube that shoots out of the Nemesis, and it's a straw. A big metal straw slams into the Ark, and Optimus is waiting on the other side. I'm so perplexed. So when the Decepticons run through, a fist fight happens.
So what I cracked up about earlier was I saw Soundwave charge in, and then Jazz and I think it's Sideswipe and Prowl just all like rush him.
Yeah.
They just all rush him, and Soundwave like shakes, like he shakes one of them off, and then throws like a Prowl over his head, and then like drop kicks Sideswipe away. It's so comical looking to me.
They run in and like WWE brawl.
Yeah.
Like it's like three smaller guys taking on the Big Show.
Yeah.
He smacks them all away in one hit. Like he literally picks one up and throws him.
Yeah.
And then
over the top rope. Both feet hit the floor. He's eliminated from the Royal Rumble.
Speaking of drop kicking, I'm not sure who this red guy is. That's not Red Alert, is it?
The red guy that he drop kicked?
No, that drop kicks him. Somebody drop kicks Soundwave, and they come from the top of the screen.
That's Ratchet, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Drop kicks him. The next scene, it's showing Soundwave picking people up and throwing them again. And I'm like, why is Soundwave so powerful? As we're gonna see, he does everything on the show. The only reason he's not leader is because he doesn't have the will for it.
Or
like
the
Soundwave is boss.
or the
charisma.
personality.
Well, he has no personality.
Yeah. So we get a panning shot. We briefly see Megatron and Optimus brawling, and then we get a panning shot of a bunch of Transformers like fighting with one another, and like the ship starts rumbling, and they all just stop and look around as the camera pans. Like they just completely stop what they're doing as
That's a trope.
as the screen just shakes.
Yeah.
And then they like,
They're all
and
just
then when the
no shots are fired in this scene, by the way.
And then when the camera finishes panning over, all of a sudden they all just like blah fall over.
They all fall over, and this is weird. Like
They were like just standing still, like through the entire like panning shot. They were just standing still, and then when the camera
animate that, man.
when the camera finishes panning, then they just like flail and fall over.
So basically, they're getting pulled into a planet's. They're getting pulled in gravitationally pulled into a planet's atmosphere, and the Nemesis and the Ark separate.
Yeah.
And the I don't know where the Nemesis goes. Flies off into space or crash lands somewhere else or is blown up.
Yeah.
But the Ark slams into a mountain.
We will find out eventually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where the Nemesis goes, or just the Ark?
Where the Nemesis goes, we will find out
Oh.
eventually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then you get a Tubi app, despite a Tubi ad, despite the fact you're on Tubi. And then the commercial break ends. So what's happening here is it's showing like a river form, trees growing, and then it says 4 million years later.
Yep, and then the mountain that the Ark crashed in explodes. It's a volcano, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And
that wakes Teletran up.
We see at the base of the volcano, like the back end of the Ark is just sticking out. And I'm like,
yeah,
no one has ever noticed this before, hey?
Because as we find out, this is 1984.
Yeah.
America? Yeah, I'm gonna say America.
Well, yeah, because the mountain, God, what is it? I'm gonna look it up on the Transformers wiki. The mountain is basically supposed to be Mount Saint Helens.
Right. So here's the thing. They crashed. How did they all go offline? But Teletran stayed operable? Did it go into like power saving mode? And why did every single Autobot and Decepticon go into stasis? Do you know that?
I have no idea, no.
Oh, okay. So I'm just figuring the impact was so big.
Mount Saint Hilary.
Okay. The impact was so big it knocked all of them offline?
Yeah,
Maybe?
sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, let's say that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
So the camera pans and it shows them all completely f***ed up.
Yeah.
All the Decepticons and Autobots. Some of that one looks like a truck. Huh. Apparently one of them was in truck form already when they crashed. So the computer kind of
the Ark's computer wakes up and sends out this like little probe, and it's like explore, and it's like it looks like a little like mini like flying satellite dish. Satellite, or not satellite dish, satellite, basically. And so it starts flying around.
A jet.
Yeah.
It finds a military base.
Yeah.
Scans the jet and goes, repair!
And so my immediate question here is, why is Teletran 1, the Autobot computer, why is it waking up the Decepticons?
Not only why is it waking up the Decepticons,
but why is it waking them up first?
Yeah. Like that's kind of like the opposite of what you should do.
Yeah. Like it's not even doing anything to the Autobots right now. It like literally repairs all of the and wakes up all the the Decepticons. And I'm like, why? This is a fucking
All of the
Autobot ship.
Decepticons first. It's an Autobot ship. Now, if it was doing it indiscriminately, right, like just randomly picking them as it going, okay, that's fine. It's just waking up the Decepticons, repairing them, and giving them their
Alt
disguise.
modes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we see this one's a jet.
I almost instinctually want to say beast mode, but I'm like, no, they're vehicles.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm like, alt mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Flight mode.
Knievel
So
mode.
it wakes up Starscream
Turns
first.
into a motorcycle.
And instead of Starscream going like, now's my chance, he like picks up and pulls Megatron closer to the laser that's shooting all of them and repairing them.
Right. So, yeah. So, like... Now's your chance,
that's not
dude. Now's your
Starscream.
time to shine.
Is that
Like,
Starscream? I'm wrong. It's not Starscream.
oh. Which one was it? I missed it.
Or who is it?
What color was he?
He's purple and black.
Oh, that's
That's not Star.
It's either Skywarp or Thundercracker. I think it might be
It's
Thundercracker.
Thun-
Skywarp.
Yes, sorry,
Skywarp.
my bad. Yeah, sorry, my bad. It's
I
not.
always get those two mixed up.
Because I was like, why is Starscream helping Megatron? What the Oh, okay. So,
I think Thundercracker is the purple one, and Skywarp is the blue one. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. So, while Christopher's looking that up, the Megatron and Skywarp, Thundercracker, they go and grab and drag all of like the bodies of the Decepticons closer to this laser. So that's probably why, Christopher. I think we answered our own question.
Okay, so Thundercracker is the blue one, and Skywarp is the purple one. So I had it backwards.
Okay, so it's Skywarp. So to answer our own question, Christopher, the reason it repairs all the Decepticons first is because Megatron and Skywarp go and drag all the other Decepticons closer to Teletran's like laser repair module.
Yeah, okay.
So that makes sense, right? They're all dragging them closer, and they're not dragging any of the Autobots. I find it weird.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's go with that, right? Well, why else are they dragging them, right? Again, I don't think Teletran should be doing that at all. Teletran being the computer system.
Yeah.
Should be helping the Decepticons at all. But this is so perplexing to me. Once all the Decepticons are repaired, they all peace out and fly out of the Ark. Like, they don't finish off the Autobots.
Yeah, just like blow up the Ark. Like blow that shit up. Yeah.
They just fly away. Oh, and in G1, listeners, if you've never checked it out, everyone can fly. In their robot form. Everybody can just like hover fly. Like Superman.
In this miniseries,
oh, sorry. In More Than Meets the Eye, at least.
yeah. In this like 3-parter, the Autobots can fly, but it's established very quickly afterward that only Decepticons can fly. In G1.
Oh, am I wrong? And the Autobots can't?
Well, they
maybe I'm
fly
wrong.
in these episodes.
But the Autobots too?
Yeah, they do fly in
okay.
these episodes, but right after this in the series, it's established that flying is only a Decepticon thing. No, they
Because
do.
Optimus borrows someone's jetpack. Oh, or is that just so he can chase after the ship? I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, yes, but no, the Autobots do fly, because I remember I watched these episodes with my partner a few days ago,
Okay.
and I commented about that. I'm like, this is the only time you will see Autobots flying, because
Or Autobots.
because that
Bad
shit
guys
gets
always get the-
retconned.
Bad guys always get the better shit, better equipment.
Yep. And so Starscream fires off a laser, and Megatron's like, "What are you doing, you idiot?" And Starscream's like, I'm just saying goodbye. And he's like, good night, sweet prince.
What was he doing?
I don't know, giving a 21 laser salute. I don't even know, really.
Was he shooting at the Ark?
He was shooting... Well, what he ends up doing is shooting rocks. He shoots some rocks that's like...
I'm with Starscream on that. Destroy the Ark.
He shoots some rocks that like fall onto the Ark, and like the vibrations from that like make the stasis locked body of Optimus Prime fall back. And so Teletran 1 is all like, oh, repair.
And the first thing he does is scan a shipping truck.
A Peterbilt semi-truck.
Yeah.
And
repair.
And in my favorite moment in all of G1, Optimus Prime gets up and looks
After
over.
being a truck.
He's repaired, and he reappears as a like Peterbilt semi truck, and then transforms back into robot form, and like looks back at Teletran 1, gives it a thumbs up, and is like, thanks. And we quickly get a like transition screen after that. Do 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 do.
Thanks. After 4 million years, that's his.
That's the first word to come out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna make him giving the thumbs up the episode art for this for this episode of the podcast.
The most perplexing shit happens after the commercial flip when we join the Decepticons. So the Decepticons are walking through the desert, the rocky desert.
Why are they walking at all? They can fly.
Maybe they use energy. And
yeah. I mean, they are low on Energon, so...
He points at a bunch of rocks, and he says, right there, where those rocks are, that will be our base of operations. And I'm like, why there? Why not, like, 10 miles back? Why not like, over there?
Why not those rocks over there?
Why not area where there are there are less rocks? And then he points at... And he points at Soundwave, and he's like, prepare plans for a new spacecraft. And I'm like, holy shit, Soundwave is a lot of responsibility in these episodes.
Yeah.
He has to prepare the plans for an entire new starship for Cybertronians, which are huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like going to take like 10 years. There's like 8 of you guys. But as we soon find out, it takes a few days.
They're...
Yeah, jumping ahead, he's like... They peace out and they look for materials to build their base.
Yeah, and he's like, the materials we need are there. And he points at like a military base.
Yeah.
And we cut to the Autobots, and Optimus is like giving a speech about how they have to stop the Decepticons. So I don't know, like Hound and Cliffjumper are all like, I want to bust some Deceptichops, or like some shit. I don't know. They say some bullshit. And Optimus is like, easy guys. Whoa there, calm down. We gotta remain calm, and if we want to beat this motherfucker, transform and roll out. And then
so a Jeep and a red punch buggy drive off into the desert.
Yeah, Hound and Cliffjumper. And
so we're back to the Decepticons, and Starscream is like, someday I'll be giving the orders, and Soundwave is like, fuck you.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Who's the groovy? Is that Rumble? Who's the groovy dude that looks like he's got sunglasses?
Yeah, that's Rumble. Yeah. The one
He
who
looks up
like
to Starscream and he's like, "Look, man, you're kind of a pussy, but Megatron, he's badass." He talks like that. He talks like a cool guy.
yeah. uh, the coolest
literally-
Decepticon is the tiniest.
Yeah, he's like half the size of Starscream, and he's like, "If you stand up to him, you'll get your ass beaten, boy." And I'm like, Soundwave is right behind you, dude. But like as we've seen, Megatron doesn't give a shit about Starscream scheming against him.
Yeah.
Oddly, it's very odd
I think he just doesn't take him seriously.
because he knows he can kick his ass.
Yeah. Much like Beast Wars, Megatron, and Terrorsaur.
Yeah. So Rumble like goes and he like makes an earthquake and he fucks up this power station. This military like power station.
Yeah.
We're back with the Maximals. And Hound is like, "Oh geez, this is sure a lot different than Cybertron." Yeah, you know fucking shit. Cybertron's made of metal.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, how did they make Cybertron? And have they ever been on a terrestrial planet before?
I
They
would
had to have
assume.
made it.
I would assume not. They
That's
don't
why
seem
it's
to
so
be.
cool.
Yeah, they don't seem to be super familiar with organic life.
Or even know it exists.
Yeah. Which, I don't know, it's established in Transformers canon after this that, like, basically Cybertron is in the solar, like, the next solar system over from ours.
The next star
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool.
So
what
it's
is
like,
that, like 4 light years away or something?
so it's like, obviously, like, the Transformers aren't doing a ton of interstellar exploration.
No. Yeah, but they made it to Earth in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, right. I do like in War for Cybertron that, like, actually building the Ark and, like, the Decepticons making the Nemesis, like, these were, like, very, like, laborious, like, taxing, like, last-ditch
Yeah.
effort projects.
How they expand on that is, I love it.
Yeah,
I
I do.
love War
I
for
do.
Cybertron.
I do too. I can't wait to revisit those for this show eventually.
Oh, we got Alpha Centauri. The binary star system.
Cheers.
Or are they from Bernard's star? No, it's like 5-6 light years away. Huh. They're from a star. But they do orbit a star. As we have recently discovered here on Too Much Energon. So, we were following the Autobots. And who are they? They were...
Hound and Cliffjumper.
Yeah, there we go. Hound and Cliffjumper. And they find the Decepticon base. Keep in mind, like, this is like 30 seconds after Megatron said we need to build a base. And we see, like, a gigantic, like, metallic, like, base already under construction.
And
So the Decepticons move fast.
to me, it kind of almost looks like they're making like a metal tent.
Yeah,
Like
a base.
Yeah, like
A fort, if you will.
it kind of looks like a metallic, almost like a metallic teepee, in a way.
It's under construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the walls around it are slanted inwards.
Yeah. And it's not very big, so it's like all y'all motherfuckers gonna fit in there? You sure?
Yeah. And then what's his name pulls out like a little satellite dish, which I guess amplifies sound in the distance, and he overhears Megatron talk
Yeah.
about stealing the planet's resources so that they can make a ship and bring the energy back to Cybertron.
Yeah. And
Soundwave, which again apparently like scientist, pilot, astro engineer, he tells Megatron that we can take the planet's energy resources and concentrate them into Energon Cubes.
So this is our first introduction to the concept of Energon in Transformers lore.
Yeah, and Megatron says some bullshit like, "Oh, how ironic! The bots leading us here has actually helped in our war effort because the planet's like rich with resources."
Yeah.
And Cliffjumper pulls out a rocket launcher, right?
Yeah, and
And
he's
go
like,
ahead.
yeah, he's like, I don't know, he's like, I got Megatron in my sights or some shit like that, and
Yeah, and
like,
what's his name's like, "Okay, but don't miss." And so
of
he
course he
fucking
does.
misses.
Yeah. And
Doesn't even hit one of them, just flat out misses. That's like 20 feet. He's nowhere near him. It
yeah,
hits like the structure behind them.
yeah, so they get noticed, and
The Decepticons are like, "Who the hell was that?"
Soundwave sends Laserbeak after them, and Hound and
Well,
Cliffjumper like,
I only want to mention this because I find it like stupid and humorous.
okay,
He's like, "Who could it possibly be shooting at us?" And all the Decepticons are talking, and Starscream is like, "It must be the Autobots." And Megatron is like, "The
right?
Autobots? Impossible!"
How
And I'm
could
like,
they?
"How? It's not impossible. They were chilling out where you left them." I don't know why. I just find that hilarious. Like every single time Megatron, and he says it a few times, says impossible. It is something that is actually probable. Far from impossible. So I don't know. I love these episodes. Yeah, so sorry, you're saying Laserbeak cassette shoots out a sound wave to go spy.
Yeah, and he gives chase. Hound and Cliffjumper transform and flee, and
Along
they
the cliffs.
yeah,
Yeah.
they split up, and Laserbeak chases Hound, but like one of his, well, lasers breaks off of his wing and just starts flying, chasing Cliffjumper. I'm like, what the fuck? So you see this like, you see this shot of just this like flying like laser gun, just like
Just the laser part.
yeah, just like flying through the air, chasing
With like a little
Cliffjumper.
rocket behind it,
Yeah,
moving it around.
yeah, it's so
So I'm
dumb.
like, Soundwave is like the most powerful transformer ever. He has one. Not only can Laserbeak harass transformers like much larger than him and give give chase to them, like his little transformers that come out of him can come apart. It's wild. It's weird.
Yeah. So Laserbeak fires a missile at Hound, and Hound goes flying off a cliff and lands at the bottom, and the Autobots
He's smoky. Yeah.
yeah, the Autobots show up to help. I think it's like Ratchet and Huffer. Huffer is the one with the winch that lifts him up. And
Who's the ambulance?
Ratchet.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that it conveys they can talk when they're in their vehicle mode.
Yeah.
By a little light inside of their cockpit or their dash or whatever that like blinks. So I guess he's taken enough damage he can't transform.
Yeah. Yeah, and even like Ratchet asks him, he's like, "Oh, can you transform?" And he's like, I don't think so." And so Cliffjumper's feeling bad, and he apologizes and like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like this never would have happened if I hadn't shot at Megatron." And Hound is like, "Oh, you mean it wouldn't have happened if you hadn't missed?"
I like that actually.
Yeah,
I like
so
that little back and forth.
so did I. Yeah.
No hard feelings. Much different than the Decepticons.
Yeah. Speaking of the
So,
Decepticons, we're back at we're hanging out with who is it? Sky Thundercracker, the blue one.
Thundercracker and the Seekers?
Uh,
Wait, what are those three guys? They just transformed to do a camera.
Reflector.
Why don't I remember this? So Reflector is the three of them,
Yeah.
and all three of them, even though they're gigantic robots, transform and turn into a human-shaped camera.
Yep. that becomes small enough that Thundercracker can just hold it in his hands, even though previously they were like in robot form. The three of them were like half of his size.
There's some. They can
Mass
warp.
shifting.
They can. Yes. Now I'm wondering how. Like, is that like a 4-ton camera? Like, would this kill a human? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it or is it like a giant camera that like weighs as much as a jet? My favorite part. So he zooms in and he takes a picture of the Autobots, and it's a Polaroid, and it comes out, and then he just looks like he was just looking through the finder, but he looks at the Polaroid, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so dated.
Yeah.
He's like looking at the printed Polaroid.
Amazing.
It is. I love it.
So what's happening here now? We get to meet Spike Witwicky and his dad.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, wait, no, it's Spike's dad and some other dude.
Oh, it's neither. It's neither, actually.
What is it? Oh,
It's
yeah,
just
you're
two,
right.
like, workers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just two random humans.
Yeah, two random humans.
My mistake. They all
that-
look alike to me.
those humans.
Yeah, those
They got like
humans.
soft skin and like curly mass that comes out of the top of their head.
But they get attacked by a Decepticon that we got to know on Beast Wars recently, Ravage.
Who is about the size of a very large, like, predatory cat.
Yeah.
A robotic predatory cat. And he tackles them, but they somehow get away
Yeah.
and get back into the truck
Worth noting,
and drive away.
he can't talk. He just makes like animal noises, like mechanized animal noises.
Oh, you're right. But we heard Rumble talking.
Yeah.
He was a sassy guy.
Well, and we hear Ravage speak quite a bit in the 2 episodes of Beast Wars that he appears in. So.
We don't hear Laserbeak. Laserbeak just like screeches.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. What's the other one? Laserbeak, Ravage, Rumble.
Frenzy and Rat.
We don't see them yet. We haven't seen them yet.
No. Frenzy looks just like Rumble, but I think he's like black and purple.
Do we see him in More Than Meets the Eye?
I can't remember.
Yeah. So we're back at the Ark, and Optimus. They have this like giant laser that they're repairing. They're wounded with, and
Yeah.
Optimus is like, "Okay, get everyone together. We're gonna organize a war party or something."
Yeah. Autobots
the
transform and roll out. And we get the Transformer roll call where we get to watch them all go into vehicle mode. Oh, you are muted right now, good sir.
Yeah. What is it like? Sideswipe and Suns. Yeah.
Sunstreaker, yeah, and
What is he? The yellow Ferrari or?
yeah, he's the yellow one, yeah. Yeah, so they
And,
transform
they
and
roll out.
Yeah, they roll out, and we are on
Optimus Prime is much bigger in his vehicle mode than all the others. Like a few of them could probably like Spy Hunter into the back, into his compartment storage trailer. So we go back to the
and indeed, that is actually for the War for Cybertron toys. The Optimus Prime trailer actually can fit like a deluxe class figure in vehicle form into the back of it.
Cool. I like it.
My Optimus Prime figure that I have right here, I bought the one that doesn't come with the trailer because I tend to display my figures in robot form anyway, and the trailer just...
You're cooler in robot form.
Yeah, and the trailer just kind of... It's like, when he's in robot form, the trailer... It's just kind of like loose parts,
Takes up
essentially.
space.
Takes up space, yeah.
Oh, he's got a shield and an axe.
Yes, they actually are Transformers themselves.
Oh, so they are. Oh, I
Uh,
just noticed. Yeah, for audio listeners, he's
yeah, yeah.
taken apart his Optimus, and his axe seems to be some sort of bird. Oh,
Kind of looks like
kind of looks
Laserbeak.
like Laserbeak. Yeah, it kind of looks like like a golden Laserbeak.
Yeah.
So back on uh, joining the Decepticons, their base is like half finished now. They're not fucking around. And it seems to be like a base, an assembly base to make the starship.
Right. So they need more power. Yeah, so we cut to a like an oil rig.
Out off in the ocean.
Yeah, off in the ocean.
Yeah,
And
this isn't like
here's
an
where we get to
oil.
meet Spike and his dad.
Yeah, they both are working the oil rig.
Yeah.
It's a family business, damn it. Can you imagine being these humans? You're just doing your fucking job, right? Like you live out there. You probably don't see your family. You probably only see your family every 2 weeks. And like
Right.
gigantic alien robots descend from the sky.
Yeah, just like 40-foot tall, like alien machines show
In
up.
like a humanoid like form. They have the most perplexing reaction that I've ever seen in anything. Instead
Okay.
of going like, holy shit, let's get the fuck out of here, they grab like wrenches and screws and they start throwing them at the Decepticons. But like
Yeah,
Megatron has a
yeah.
gun on his arm, like bigger than a car. It's quite clearly a gun.
Yeah.
And they're like throwing like wrenches and crowbars and like tools at them. That's like the most American thing I've ever fucking seen. And I'm like, okay, so I guess they all die. And for some reason, kind of like, you know how we're annoyed by ants? Like maybe ants aren't like invading your picnic and you just kind of like flick them off of your blanket and you don't worry about them.
Yeah.
Megatron doesn't even like use any energy. He picks up a big like round like beam or like pipe. Yeah, big metallic pipe. And he just throws it at the workers. Like casually, he just rolls it on the ground to
Just-
like push them off the rig.
Yeah, just no fucks given.
And Rumble is there. Right? And Spike's dad decides to fight him.
Just engage in fisticuffs with this.
Like Spike punches Rumble in the back, and you hear like have you ever like rapped on glass or like punched like a metal door or whatever? It's the weakest like little ting sound as this like little human like fist bounces. There's a metallic sound. It kind of sounds like like it, yeah, more like that. Does nothing, and like Rumble turns around to look at Spike, and he just smacks him. Knocks him away, and then continues to strangle Spike's dad. And I'm like, what are you guys doing?
What are you doing?
Fighting
Like-
these aliens? Eventually, they come to their senses and they jump into the water. So what's this ray? He's like, Starscream, activate the null ray.
The null ray, yeah. And
I don't really know what this is.
So Starscream like fires one of his lasers from his arm, like we've seen him do several times already, but it appears to like freeze like some piece of like machinery on this oil rig.
The base of it freezes it.
Because reasons. And
Soundwave starts making these 3D laser wireframe cubes.
Okay, so I got a lot to say about this. So
okay, and so he makes multiple of them, right? And they're just like energy containers of some kind.
And what Megatron, for video viewers, Megatron, for the audio listeners, I'm holding up my War for Cybertron Earthrise Megatron figure. Uh,
He's weathered and battle worn.
yeah. So Megatron is like Soundwave. Prepare the Energon Cubes.
Yes, which are just the containers, right? They're just
Yeah.
energy storing containers.
So yeah. So like you mentioned, out of Soundwave projects out of his chest these like wireframe like energy like transparent cubes, and a bunch of the other Decepticons take uh these like tubes, like these like pipings, hose. There we
Literally
go.
hoses.
Hoses. That's the word I was
The
looking for.
oil rig.
Yeah, yeah,
Literally hoses, and they push them into the energy, the stacked like energy wireframe,
yeah,
the Energon cubes,
yeah.
and
And
fill
then
them with oil. Like
they
it's black sludge, right?
they fill them with oil, and then once they're filled up, they press them down. They press and compress them down, and now
Pillows.
suddenly, like pillows, yeah, and now suddenly we have Energon Cubes.
Yeah, and they glow like rainbow sparkly.
Yeah. So, after having watched Beast Wars
So
now,
he squishes them into Energon cube pillows.
yeah. So after having watched Beast Wars now for the past like nearly a year for this podcast, I'm like, this is not what I understand Energon to be.
Because we're just used to like the raw Energon crystals.
Yeah, Energon being like a like raw like crystalline element that just occurs naturally on planet Energon.
And now we're learning it, yeah, an end is unstable in its crystal form.
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah.
Some of it ends up being stabilized later.
And apparently
But
it
as
can
we're
be
learning,
refined, but yeah. But now
yes.
but
But as we're learning now, Energon is the Transformers word for energy.
yeah.
Like actually, it can be anything.
Yeah. Including
which we will
oil.
see or rubies, but we're getting out of ourselves. Fuck me. Oil, yeah. So anything can be high concentrations of like chemical or potential energy or trapped carbon or something. I don't know.
Right.
Anything can be energy.
Dilithium crystals.
Yeah, why not? Raid what can they make a ton out of nuclear material? I don't know how it works. So they transform, and specifically, I'm not sure if this is the first time we've seen it. Megatron transforms into his like disguise mode,
Yeah.
his vehicle mode, and it's like a sci-fi gun. And
Yep.
Starscream grabs him.
Yeah, so more mass shifting going on, like we mentioned earlier with Reflector. Megatron.
Yes.
Yeah, Megatron, who is in his robot form, is bigger than Starscream.
Huge, but towers over Starscream. Now transforms into this little gun. It's not like a giant like bazooka even. It's a pistol. It's like a laser pistol.
It's a handgun with some attachments, with like a scope and like
With like a scope, an extended barrel, and
yeah.
What is it called? A butt stock or whatever.
A stock. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cool looking gun, but it's he transforms into a sci-fi pistol or submachine gun
it is small enough that it can be wielded by Starscream
with one hand.
With one hand. Yeah.
And indeed, Starscream opens fire with Megatron gun at the incoming Autobots.
Mega gun.
Mega gun. Megsy. And then when Starscream misses all of them, by the way. When Optimus Prime lands, Starscream just throws the gun up in the air and he transforms back into Megatron.
I'm just watching like.
And then they wrestle. You realize this now watching this. I'm realizing this is just a very dramatic like WWE match because no lasers are hit each other, and then Megatron and Optimus Prime grapple each other, like literally like clench each other.
So go to about 20 minutes and 16 seconds and look over on the right side of the screen and just watch Optimus Prime and Megatron fight.
I like how it shows. Before I'm almost there. I like how it shows some are like laser fighting each other, and then it cuts down to two of them, and they're fighting each other with metal poles. And I'm like, I swear, all of you guys have guns. Is it just some of them have guns? I'm so confused. No, I can see his laser there. Anyways, 2016.
Yep.
They're just like Rock'em. Not even. They're barely animated.
Yeah, they're moving so slowly. So for the listeners, they're for the audio listeners. So what they're doing is Optimus Prime and Megatron are very slowly trading these like blows back and forth.
Really badly animated blows.
Really
which
badly animated blows that
don't
aren't
seem
even
to be
connecting.
making contact.
Yeah.
They're not even connecting. It's just a hilarious one small like, half a second scene that's hilarious. So while the battle's going on, some of the Decepticons pick up the Energon pillows, which I find hilarious. And then out of nowhere, Laserbeak like pesters Optimus,
Yeah.
and instead of Megatron getting like a sucker punch, he just flies away.
Yeah.
And then Laserbeak is like, "Oh, okay," and he pieces out too.
And
they blow. He says, "So long, Prime. Have a nice swim." As all the Decepticons are in the air with the Energon they stole.
yeah, I was gonna
And Megatron shoots.
Yeah, I was gonna say Megatron. The Decepticons are in the air, and Megatron says some bullshit, and like,
Yeah, and starts shooting the. And I'm like, dude, you got a huge gun on your arm. Why do you transfer gun? Is that gun better than your arm gun? Is that like a golden eye, like golden gun, or like one shot kills anyone that it hits? Like, what is the application of changing into that handgun?
right?
I've never known. But yeah, they knock the Autobots and the humans into the water. The rig is on fire. And Megatron says to Megatron Bolt, like, "Oh, I better keep you warm." Blows up all the oil tanks, causing a oil fire. And oh, there's a good scene right around 2052. Megatron's like silhouette is laughing as like fire. And they fly away. They leave the Autobot. The Autobots can swim. Apparently they're buoyant, by the way.
Yes, despite probably being like 4,000 pounds.
I mean, ships are buoyant and they weigh a lot. Maybe they're. I don't know. Except that ships are made for floating.
I was gonna say, like they are designed a very specific way so they will float.
And sometimes they don't even. Sometimes they fail at that.
Yes,
So
sometimes they crash
yelling,
into icebergs, you know.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
But my heart
I
will
say,
still
as
go
it's
on.
been like 100 and fucking
Like 100. I think it was, what was it, 1912?
1914, 1912. Man, maybe I'm just gonna Google that so I don't feel like a dumbass. When did Titanic sink? 1912. Yeah.
Oh,
Around
hey,
when we were
I was
recording
right.
this.
I was right.
It's April 15th. It was April 14th when it went down.
Oh shit. Should have recorded this yesterday.
Damn. So, luckily, both the humans yelling for help that are trapped in the wreckage, as well as the Autobots, speak English. And the Autobots are nice. And they help them.
Yep. And
that's part one.
Yeah, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
All right, part two.
We're on to part two. We're just gonna jump like right the fuck into it.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it and like kind of
skip the. I find the first episode most interesting, but the second and third episode more humorous.
Yeah, yeah. I think so listeners, I think for the remaining 2 episodes, cuz I mean, we've already been recording for an hour and a half now. We spent actually more time on that episode than I was expecting, to be honest. Um
I as well, but like a lot happens in it.
yeah. I mean,
Whereas-
you would hope, right? I mean, it's the series premiere.
So I'm gonna kind of like yada yada some. The Autobots help all the humans, and
Yeah.
I just want to say like good representation. Like Spike's dad is a heavier dude, right? And that's kind of interesting. Like I grew up with cartoons where everybody was like strong or like skinny or fit. There weren't really any like you know what I mean, like Scooby Doo.
Right.
So it's interesting seeing G1 and like Spike's dad is like a heavy dude. You know, he's got big arms, but he's got like, you know, beer gut going and it's a working man. You know, he's a father.
He works hard for the money.
Yeah. Alongside his son. But yeah, they have a back and forth and he's like Optimus just shares everything with him. He spills the beans. He's like, "Yeah, we're Autobots. Those guys are Decepticons. They're douches. We're from another planet called Cybertron."
We're the good guys. You should trust us, because we saved your life, bro.
And Spike is like, "Holy shit, you guys are aliens? This is rad." And I'm like, "It is."
It is, kinda, yeah.
And Spike has a journal.
Yeah. Yeah, so Spike is writing in his journal about, wow, I just met these like really cool, like 40-foot tall aliens. That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go meet them in their ship now. Oh hey, who left this cassette player here? Cool. I'm gonna bring it with me. So he runs into the ship and then just sets it down and then fucks off. Like continues on. And I'm like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, at least if you're like, hey, cool, free cassette player, like, at least just
Bring
take
it
that
with
shit.
you?
They bring
But
it
he
with you.
runs into the Ark and like puts it on a counter.
Yeah, immediately, as soon as he gets in there, he's like, huh,
Hey,
I'll
sweet.
leave this
I'll
here.
just put this here. Right before the Dear Diary, I met aliens. They can transform into cars. Spike is like, "Hey, how can we help?" And Optimus is like, "No offense, but you guys can't help." And Spike is like, "But I'm from Earth. I know way more about it than you guys do." And Optimus is like, "You're right." And I'm like, "No, he's not. The Teletrans scanned more of the planet
Yeah.
than this guy knows."
So it's pretty
But,
obvious, but like, Spike asks Mirage, and Hound and some other guy, like, why do you transform? And they're like, well, disguise.
And I'm like, yeah, disguise.
Yeah. And Hound transforms into vehicle form, and we get
They're
to see
showing
him.
off.
Yeah, yeah.
They're showing
And
off for Spike.
he shows he shows that they have the ability to create like a holographic projection of a person driving, which I had actually forgotten, but like that's something that they do in the Michael Bay movie as well.
They're just like nondescript, like dudes in
Yeah.
driving it. Yeah,
So I'm like, okay.
just like dudes with military-looking dudes with sunglasses.
So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll give props to that Michael Bay movie that they called back to that.
Yeah, I like that. Mirage is like, "Check out what I can do," and he's like, he just goes invisible, and Spike is like, "Wow, that's useful. Well, I'm gonna drive around in this Jeep," and I'm like, "Nothing. Why would you leave the Ark? Nothing is special about driving around in a Transformer when it's just a Jeep. But you're inside of an alien spaceship.
Yeah.
Maybe you should pick up your cassette player before you leave." Yeah, so he goes cruising around the desert with
Hound.
with Hound in the Jeep. And we saw that the cassette player isn't like one of Soundwave's little Decepticons in him.
One of his tapes,
Sound- It's Soundwave.
yeah.
His
So he
disguise mode,
so he mass shifts as well, just like Megatron and Reflector.
And they changed their mass, like you said, mass shift. It's not just changing size because Spike picked it up with ease. He wasn't like, "Holy shit, this is heavy."
Yeah.
It was with ease, so they can. There's some mass shenanigans there.
Yeah.
And he releases Ravage inside the Ark.
Yep. And Spike and Hound are continuing on through the desert, and
What did Soundwave say to Ravage? Go into Teletran's system and search Earth for resources. Yeah. Okay, got it.
okay.
Anyways, you were
I
saying
had no clue, so I'm glad you.
it's hard
glad you were on
to
top of that.
understand Soundwave. His voice is very heavily, probably the most heavily
Modulated.
modulated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny enough, he is voiced by Frank Welker, the dude who also voices Megatron.
Yeah.
So
I love this. So sorry, you were saying out in the desert.
yeah, out in the desert, and then somehow they end up back at the Ark all of a sudden.
Well, he asks Spike, right? And he's like, Earth must be a pretty cool place to live, huh? Like he sees the ocean and the desert. And Spike is like, it's okay. But tell me about Cybertron.
Of course, yeah. Like, um,
Anyways, like you said, they're somehow back.
they're somehow back at the
It's
Ark.
like a
Just to-
30-second drive.
Yeah, just to they're somehow back at the Ark to confront Soundwave, who's basically hacking Teletran 1, trying to figure out like where resources
he's
are on
hacking
Earth.
Teletran.
Yeah.
And Spike runs over. He's like, "What? What's my cassette player doing here?" And he runs over, and cassette player turns into a 25-foot tall giant robot.
Yeah,
It
and
spooks Spike a little bit.
like Ravage attacks Spike, and
Spike turns on the alarm.
yeah, and Ravage and Soundwave flee, and the Autobots start shooting at them, and
They catch Ravage.
yeah.
Or do they?
Sorry,
Oh, never mind.
Sorry, I keep talking. I keep hearing a weird noise.
Oh, okay. So basically, like Christopher said, they all open fire on this little Ravage guy, but it's starting to get dark. So that leads me to believe that the Decepticons and Autobots have only been active for like a day. Maybe it's been like weeks or something, but it feels like a day. And they keep missing Ravage. Holy shit. And then Optimus comes around in robot form while the others are in their vehicle mode. And he's like way bigger than them. Like huge. Holy shit. Yeah, there's a lot of mass shifting in these. And I love this. What is it? It's Optimus Prime is like, Gears, activate your infrared mode. And his high beams just turn red.
Okay.
And they move over a little bit where Ravage was hiding, and he's like,
Oh,
there
yeah,
he is. And I'm like, infrared isn't. You know what? Never mind. If you're interested in the difference between, like, our visual spectrum of light and UV, go and Google it. There's too many weird shit in these episodes for me to nitpick. But yeah, they find Ravage with infrared, which makes sense because he's a machine. He's probably running hot, right?
Yeah.
And he was staying still, like trying to blend in with the rocks. So yeah, okay, I'll actually give them that. There's nothing wrong with that. And they go fire the nets, and they shoot like energy nets and catch them.
Yeah. Prowl
So they
and
catch
Jazz.
Ravage.
Yeah. Fire their energy nets, and they catch him. And
Soundwave reports to Megatron.
yeah, Soundwave reports to Megatron, and what do they say here?
Megatron and is like, your knowledge is only surpassed by stupidity. Fuck off. Like just some bickering.
Right.
And they fly off to go steal the electricity from a dam. Right?
A hydroelectric dam.
But like it's only useful because whatever, yeah, they're going to go steal energy. Their energy consumption is extremely short-lived, the Decepticons, right? Like if they had taken over the oil rig, they could have just kept infinitely producing as long as the rig was operating, could have just kept producing um Energon cubes, filling up Energon cubes, I mean. But
Right.
it just blew it up after. They do that with this dam too. Like a rumble immediately comes out, and Soundwave's like, Rumble, jump in the water and activate pile drive mode.
Yeah.
To make tidal waves, apparently, to disrupt and break apart the dam. And I'm like, why are they doing this? Could they just take over the dam? But what do I know? And
Well,
indeed, it does start to fuck up the dam.
well, just taking over the dam is kind of a long game, whereas they're like,
They're not in it for the long con.
no, they're not. Like they need resources right now because they're trying to build a ship to get back to Cybertron.
So the idea here is that they flood the dam, and that makes hydroelectric turbines spin faster and overload the dam, producing more electricity, but
Apparently.
ultimately damaging and making it very dangerous, right? So this is a nuclear this is kind of like a nuclear meltdown version of a dam. It's not really how dams work. I think that's really funny. So yeah, they're overriding the turbine and they're to make it produce more electricity. That's what the Decepticons are doing.
Yeah. Also, what just occurred
We
to
know
me.
that because the humans working inside point at at like little like tickers that are like going into overdrive into red bad, red
Yes.
too much,
Yes,
red bad zone.
We all know that, yeah.
Yeah, zero bad, no electricity, but red too much.
Too much electricity.
And one of the presumably an engineer or a technician said something's wrong, and he smacks the meters. Like that's going to stop the dam from flooding. I love that. Like he's like the Fonz, like smacking like a jukebox.
or like back in the day, like in the 70s, like when you got your rabbit ears on top of your old like CRT TV, and you can't get like a clear signal, so you just like slam your fist on top of the TV and suddenly
Sometimes it works. Yeah. Fuck. It's just working class folks here.
Seems legit, right?
The funny thing is, like, there's so much worse. There's so much bullshit in these like the second and third episode of More Than Meets the Eye that like we don't even have time to talk about how ridiculous that they all are. So
one thing I want to mention that kind of just occurred to me. So the Autobots left Cybertron to go and try and find resources, and the Decepticons
wanted to see what they were up to.
So they all crash land on Earth and sit in stasis lock for 4 million years. And immediately the Decepticons are like, well, we need to go back to Cybertron.
Yeah, 4 million years is a long time.
So like immediately when they wake up, they're like, well, we better go home.
Are they unaware of how much time has gone by? Is that something we don't know? Like maybe they think it was a week.
I think Megatron mentions in part 1 at some point in like a little like throwaway line, like we've been asleep for a long time or something like that.
So they kind of got a gist of it.
Yeah. But I just
you
think
have a good point. A lot changes in 4 million years.
Well, yeah, and it's not even just that. I just think it's funny that like they went through all of this and like immediately when they get to their destination, they're like Like, as soon as they wake up, they're like, well, see you later. Basically. Big gulps,
Okay,
huh?
bye. Have a nice day.
Cool. Well, see you later. Let's go home. It's like,
It's weird.
yeah, it's
Motivation.
just like,
Yeah.
it's
Like his faction might not even exist. Cybertron might not exist.
it's like you would think you would want to spend time on Earth, like actually like establish like a presence on Earth to gather resources in
A
the long
permanent base
term.
of some
Yeah. And then
kind.
potentially like go back
It's
to
almost like that's
Cybertron.
what wins the Autobots.
Yeah.
The war.
Yeah. And then eventually go back to Cybertron after you've spent like maybe a few years like gathering resources,
Made a few bases.
made a few bases, like, and actually develop like an ongoing supply chain between Earth
Maybe
and
instead of just
Cybertron.
attacking the humans, asking for energy.
Yeah. Being like, hey,
Literally,
we're
the Autobots too?
Decepticons. We're the good guys. So you know those Autobots, they're the bad guys.
Well, it's whoever doesn't shoot at the humans are the good guys.
Yeah, and
So
that's actually something that the Decepticons do in the Bumblebee movie. The Decepticons are they're like, hey, we're good. This Bumblebee cat, he real bad, you know.
You can trust us. We're called the Decepticons.
Actually, John Cena, who is hilarious as always in that film, he plays like a military guy, and like
As he always does.
as he always does. But like when the Decepticons betray them, John Cena like says something to the effect of like, "Really? Like we didn't see that coming? They're called Decepticons."
They didn't even hide their name.
Yeah, it's great. The Bumblebee movie is actually pretty good.
I'll have to check it out. It
worth
sounds funny
watching.
at least.
Maybe
So we're back on.
maybe we'll do
Go
a
ahead.
too much commentary track for it someday.
Yeah, someday. We're back on the Ark with Spike and who is that? Jazz or what do we got here? Somebody, and they are. I apologize for the diehard fans that can recognize them at a glance, but I'm not familiar with G1 too much. Now here's the so a whole bunch of gibberish is on the screen, presumably some sort of
Oh, that's
free.
that's Jazz that he's chilling with.
Oh, I was right.
Yeah.
Wow, go me. He's chilling with Jazz, and like almost like a Cybertronian like handwriting appears across the screen,
Right.
and Spike is able to read it.
Dun dun.
Wow, kid learns fast. And he's like, "Oh, it looks like that's the power output from the nearby hydroelectric dam." And Spike leans in and he goes, "The power output is 10 times normal."
How would he know that?
Teletran is telling them
Okay.
because it picked up seismic activity.
Fair.
So Teletran's like, "Hey, there's seismic activity gone." And the dam is like 10 times as efficient as ever. Yeah. So Jazz is like, "Oh, shit. Okay, I'll tell Prime."
The dam is
Go
about,
Spike.
the dam is about to go into meltdown.
Kind of, yeah. And it's true, like the rivers can overflow, and they're usually built with systems that allow overflow or allow them to empty. So I don't know why. It's because it's the tidal waves that are battering.
Right.
Presumably, I don't know. Whatever.
It
Anyways,
doesn't matter.
I love this scene. The Megatron just walks through the wall like it's made out of paper. Like he just like walks through as it crumbles around him, shoots the ceiling out, and he's like, "I'm Megatron, bitches." And the humans are there, just like, "Whoa, what is happening?"
Yeah.
And these humans seem to have their heads on a little bit better. Megatron's like, "You're gonna have to do what I say," and humans are like, "Okay."
And the Autobots show up.
Yeah. What does he say? Starscream, prepare the null ray again. So that thing that like allows them to sap energy.
Whatever that is, yeah.
Yeah. But like you said, the Autobots show up.
And we actually get to see them fly.
Yes.
Yeah, they all take off into flight.
This is so weird. So Soundwave shoots the Energon Cubes out, which are just these energy boxes that we can see through, right?
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier.
They're attached to like some sort of like attached to the turbines as if they just like connect to them. And presumably they're being filled with electricity? Yeah?
Yeah. Well, we saw them being filled with oil earlier.
Yeah, now they're like lightning is like shooting in them, and so they can just be filled with energy.
Yeah,
resources.
so apparently Energon Cubes can be filled with any form of energy.
Yeah.
Not a naturally occurring resource at all. No.
And maybe electricity is the purest form of energon. I don't know how it works.
Wow, these things
How much
really
electricity can you store in an energon cube?
These things really do look like pillows.
When they squish them?
When they
They
squish
squish them
yeah.
into energon pillows. Yeah. Yeah, so Hound jumps into the water and turns on his headlamp to figure out what the fuck is creating the waves.
Yeah.
And Rumble's down there. And they rumble and they fight.
Rumble in the Bronx.
We get some G.I. Joe action here. Oh, it's one of my favorite Jackie Chan movies.
Never seen it.
It's very good, actually. Like if you have to watch one Jackie Chan movie, it's probably that one. Highly recommend. And I saw it in theaters. And we cut back and there's like a neighborhood. Why are there always neighborhoods beneath dams? Like doesn't that seem like a stereotypically like bad place to live? Because it's a movie trope that when the dam breaks, like all the houses get flooded.
When the dam breaks, the houses get flooded.
I love how they stop the flood. Are you at that point? Bumblebee gets in the back of who's this red hippie van? Sorry, I don't know who this guy is. One of them is just a van. And Bumblebee jumps in the back, and they ride in front of the giant tidal wave.
Oh, that's
the dam is starting to break.
That is Ironhide.
Oh, that's Ironhide. Wow, excuse me, I didn't recognize you, Ironhide. And they ride in front of the tidal wave, and Bumblebee shoots a laser which carves deep canals into the rock, and so they're creating running ditches to divert the flow of water.
Oh yeah, like like trenches.
Runaway ditches, runaway trenches. Yeah, and they do this enough, and then they build a big, huge groove right in front of where the neighborhood is, and the water just flows into it and completely stops. And I love this. They stop near a house, and this is very G.I. Joe moment. Like I said, all shows were meant to show like good guys saving people, right? Especially cartoons in the 80s.
Yeah.
And there are presumably a family on top of the rooftop of the house, and they go, "Whoa, yeah, thanks, neighbors." And I'm like, "What the fuck were you guys seeing?" Because you guys, neighbors, were you not watching the dude shooting laser canals into the ground? Wow, what a nice guy. I just find that really funny. So sorry, like you said, the Autobots, they're Energon pillows.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really are pillows.
Like how Starscream straight up just has a fucking slingshot here.
Oh. What's...
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
There's a fist fight, another WWE brawl.
Yeah, Optimus is like briefly like hanging off of a platform, and Megatron is like
crushing his hand,
crushing
trying
his
to get him
hand.
to fall.
Yeah, trying to get him to fall, and
We just saw them flying. I don't know.
yep, we just saw
I
them
forgot
flying.
about Starscream and the fucking slingshot.
And
Why? He has
Starscream
a gun on his arm. He has a gun on his arm.
on both arms. He has a gun on both of his arms.
Maybe this is more dangerous, kind of like how Megatron is more dangerous as when he transforms his whole body into a gun. Maybe this slingshot is like David and Goliath's like sling. Like this is like one superpower. If he does hit you, it's like really dangerous.
But it doesn't
Because
even really appear to do anything like much, though.
it shoots the console, like all the electronic parts of like the dam, and it makes an explosion. It arcs really weird, so the bullet is made out of energy. And Megatron stumbles back and says, "You fool, Starscream!" And I'm like, why? Why is he a fool?
Yeah.
Were you guys done here? I don't know. And so while he's like shit talking Starscream, he's like, "Get the Energon Cubes!" and and Optimus tackles him to the dam. There are a lot of Energon pillows, by the way. Like way more, like 5 times more Energon pillows they got at the dam. So so if you want Energon, Cybertronians, go to a hydroelectric dam.
Many Decepticons potentially getting a good night's sleep tonight.
There's an epic duel on top of the dam with Optimus Prime and Megatron. Optimus is like, "You destroy everything you touch." And his right hand turns into a golden energy axe.
Yes. Much like this one.
Much like the golden energy axe that
On the
Christopher's-
figure that I'm holding up to the webcam, if you're listening to this on audio. And
Yeah, and Megatron says that's because everything I touch is fuel for my hunger for power. And his right hand turns into an energy like medieval flail. Like with a chain.
yep.
I'm gonna end your hunger once and for all. Great dialogue. That's the only. I just wanted to quote that. And they duel on top of the breaking dam. It's kind of really epic.
Although there is a pretty hilarious shot where you just see like Optimus like quick jabbing his axe toward
Like
toward
this?
Megatron. Yeah, like quick jabbing like forward. Quick
It's not-
jabbing his axe. That's not how you wield an axe, dude.
Quick sidebar, like one thing. So in Morrowind, the different weapons had a thrust value, and like a chop value, and a slice value.
Right.
So a spear might have like 20 damage thrusting, but a chop of damage of 2. It's not meant to be brought over your head and smacked. But an axe, chop's great, but its thrusting damage might be 1.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's, like you said, that's not the ideal way to be using your energy weapon.
No.
Just jabbing it. It doesn't even have it kind of has a spike on the end, sort of. Junk, that's what you are. Junk. It's pretty cool duel.
Yeah, I'm going to send you a screenshot. And when I watched these episodes a few days ago with my partner, I commented about this to her, and because I thought it was pretty hysterical.
Okay.
It's coming up soon in the episode.
I'll just keep playing. Honestly,
Yeah.
I want to kind of
Keep going.
just roll this up. Oh, I think Rumble is fighting Spike for some reason. Yeah, he yells help, and Spike yelling help actually like distracts Optimus. So Megatron smacks him off, and he's like, "Haha, I win again."
Yep.
and Jazz helps Optimus out with this like emergency line. And then Spike like deep dives and helps who does he help underwater?
Who does he help?
I can't see, everything's blue. He's the Jeep. Is that the Jeep? That's the Jeep, right?
Yeah, that's Hound.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it was just everything was blue underwater.
So
There we go.
so somehow Spike is able to lift all of these ginormous rocks off of Hound. And then after he does that,
Couldn't lift him.
Hound couldn't lift himself, and after he does that, Hound then swims Spike to the surface.
There's two things weird about that. The robot is the one who swam to the surface,
Yep.
and the human is the one who pulled the heavy rocks off of
Yeah.
the robot. These
And then on the surface we see like Spike draped over a boulder, and I sent you a screenshot of this, and Hound is giving him a back massage, and just the look on Spike's face.
What did you send it to me in Too Much Energon?
On Facebook.
Oh, okay, I'll check it. But like, anyways, go on.
Yeah, so Hound is giving Spike a back massage, and Spike seems kind of into it.
Yes. Oh, maybe that should be the episode. Oh wow. That's suggestive. His eyes are even rolled up
Yep.
into the back of his head.
Yep. Yeah, when I watched these episodes with my partner the other day, I actually like paused on that moment, and I was like, "Look at this dude! Look at this kid's face here."
That is all. That is all I will say. Yeah.
So
there's a little powwow with the Autobots, and they go, "Hey, like, this is really dangerous, Optimus. We're not soldiers. Like, we can't fight the Decepticons. Like, we're gonna die here. Can we just go back to Cybertron?"
well, their ship is ruined.
Yeah, and
So-
Optimus says, "We can't do that, Mirage. It's not just a matter of us leaving and getting to Cybertron before Megatron. We owe it to like the life forms here to stop Megatron from blowing shit up."
Right.
And not only that, because there's so many resources, that if we just leave Megatron alone, he'll come back with enough resources that he'll win the war.
Yeah.
So again, 4 million years since the war started.
Who knows what Cybertron looks like now, or even if it's still there? Would it still be
they're
there?
like-
Realistically,
I mean, the Earth is still going to be here in 4 million years, but it'll be a little different.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, "But Optimus, we're whiny diaper babies. We're not built for fighting." And Optimus, being literally twice as big as all the other ones, he's like, "Suck it up, princess. We gotta try. We gotta show courage." And all it takes for evil to succeed, yada yada, is good men. Good robots do nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Optimus, you're huge. You have an axe hand. The guy that was just talking with you is like a janitor back on Cybertron. What do you want from him?" So where are we at here? Oh,
Decepticons are gathering
Decepticons.
resources, and they,
basically being shitlords, stealing oil all around the planet
yeah,
in different sized Energon cubes. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they-
raid a mine, a coal mine. They raid more oil.
yeah.
And we're joined back at their base, which has come along quite nicely in 2 days. And
Yep.
Soundwave and Megatron are like going over the plan. Soundwave says 3,000 Pascal. What does he say? 3,000. Construction nearly complete. And the Energon Cubes. 3,000 Pasculators are required. Pascal liters? Continue into the Pello Energon scene. And I'm going to look up what the fuck Pascalators are. No, that's not a thing. Did I just mishear? Pascalators?
Yeah, so the Decepticons, like, fuck off on a mission, and we see Spike and his dad, like, camping, drinking coffee, and they go off driving somewhere, and they suddenly get attacked by Decepticons.
Right before that, just because it's stupid. What you're saying is fine. Soundwave suggests to Megatron, well, there is one place we can get all of that energy in one fell swoop. And he's like, the ruby mines of Burma.
Oh, right. You were telling me about this before. So
I love this so much.
Take it away. It's all you.
That's it. That's it. He's like, the ruby mines of Burma. And they go into where all the pillows are stored, the Energon pillows.
Doesn't he say something along the lines of like he used to work in them? Or is that later?
It's a little bit later, because at this scene when they're talking about the ruby mines of Burma, do you remember the scene where Starscream is just firing a laser cannon for funsies? Like a psychopath? Like he's just shooting into the desert.
When exactly?
15:10. Like 15 minutes ish. He's just shooting at mountains.
Oh
for
yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah. Target practice, you know?
I guess.
Why not? So the Decepticons are attacking Spike and his dad, and fuck, what is his dad's name again? Sparkplug.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So Spike, they're attacking the Seekers are attacking Spike and Sparkplug, and a couple Autobots show up to help them out.
Who are they inside? Like, who are they riding in?
Is it a Transformer? I thought it was just a
Yeah.
van. Is it?
No, that's what I thought the first time I watched.
Oh yeah,
it's just a human van.
Yeah, it's got an Autobot logo on the
Is it
on
Jazz?
the hood.
Well,
no,
because
it's not Jazz.
he has a radio. Right.
Yeah. No, I have no
It's
idea
like
who it is.
a black truck.
But Sideswipe and Sunstreaker show up
to help.
To help, and they shoot some lasers and
Scare off the Seekers.
yeah, and provide Autobot escort. Yes.
So we suddenly cut to the ruby mines of Burma.
Okay.
Which is in Southeast Asia, if anybody is wondering where the fuck that is. And there are no people inside. This is the most... Can you imagine how fucking, like, profitable? Maybe it's the Decepticons have set up these tubes, but rubies by the millions are being sucked through clear glass tubes all throughout the mine and landing in, like, mine carts where a few Decepticons are like squeezing them down into very small Energon cubes, but the Energon cubes go red instead of sparkly and white.
Yeah, these are ruby Energon cubes.
They have billions of dollars of rubies, by the way. Like more rubies than the entire like history of mankind has ever mined. So holy shit, this is the most profitable mine in the planet. Well, precious gems are only as valuable as. the market says they are, right? So
Right.
you
So
pretend they're scarce, and then blah blah blah, diamonds are forever.
so
I'll go into the diamond rant conspiracy later, folks.
so if you have a mine that is producing so many rubies, rubies aren't going to be such a scarce thing anymore, so the value will go down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like literally, that's how the supply and demand works.
Yeah, yeah.
Diamonds are only expensive because the diamond industry pretends that they're rare.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the biggest fucking con, like, ever.
I've been part of the collector, like kind of dabbled in the collector market since I was a child, so I understand how this shit works.
Yeah.
At least on a rudimentary level anyway.
I'll rant about that scheme, that bullshit, the invention that a diamond has to be an engagement ring on a whole other time, because I have big ass problems with the diamond industry. But anyways, Megatron and Soundwave have stolen the Earth's entire supply of rubies.
That's why they're so rare.
Well, I mean,
The
that makes sense.
Decepticons stole them.
In the 80s, the Decepticons stole all the rubies. And literally, they're talking, like, Megatron's like, holy shit, like, this energy supply is magnificent. It's unbelievable. And I'm like, yes, it is. I can't believe you found that many rubies here. And Soundwave says there's enough rubies here to power the entire planet of Cybertron. For what? 1 year? Forever? What? I don't know what that means. Yeah,
would the
Megatron
power
says
requirements even still be the same after 4 million years? Probably not.
they'll probably bring all those diamond Energon cubes there, and they'll be like, "Oh no, dude, everything's solar powered now. We're good." Megatron will just be like, "What?" Well, we brought Energon cubes, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't. We use Energon spheres now. Those are like that. Those are
Yeah, I
ancient."
mean, we could use those to like power like some lamps around the office or something, but
Paperweights.
yeah.
They're a cool artifact. Thanks for bringing them. But yeah, Megatron says he can build a weapon so powerful that he can build a weapon that can conquer the universe. And then he literally picks up the rubies and starts throwing them up in the air, showering himself with rubies. I can't stand all of this ruby mine stuff. It's amazing.
So Bumblebee and Sparkplug encounter Skywarp and Thundercracker pushing a cart of rubies.
Well, this is the part that you had mentioned. Sparkplug wants to go, and they're like, "Whoa, this is way too dangerous." No, I'm familiar with the mine. I used to work there. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You were working on an American oil rig off the coast.
Yeah.
When the fuck did you work in the ruby mines of Burma? I can't get over that. I laughed so fucking hard when I first watched this. Sparkplug, American dad, apparently worked on the ruby mines of Burma at some point, and he's familiar with it. So they give him a bomb.
Yeah.
And it has a 60-second timer, which is very important. And that's it. Once it's set, you have 60 seconds. There's no way to turn it off.
No.
And they give this to Sparkplug and Bumblebee, because Bumblebee's small. And I'm like, this feels like a bad idea.
Yeah, so Bumblebee plants the bomb and
Yeah, they go in. Yeah, they go inside. Sparkplug says something like, "Oh, see all the walls sparkling? It's the ruby crystals that make them glow." And I'm like, this is so weird. What a weird show.
yeah, why is any of this relevant, really?
It's so weird.
But so they encounter Thundercracker and Skywarp, and fisticuffs ensue, and
While they're trying to run after the bomb is planted.
yeah, after the bomb is planted, the bomb is already down to like 30 seconds by this point. It's gone from like 60 to 30 in like the past like 5 seconds.
It takes 5 seconds to go from 6,
And
which is the opposite of most shows.
Yeah,
Usually it's like you got 60 seconds and it takes 2 minutes to blow, right?
but then from there on, we get all this bullshit of like Optimus Prime outside like saying some shit, and then the Seekers like knock out Bumblebee, and like they're talking some shit, and like a good like minute or so has gone by this point. And
Yeah.
Optimus like goes into vehicle mode and sends his little like go-kart that ejects
little
out of his,
droid.
that ejects out of his trailer into the ruby mine of Burma to try and save them or some shit. And
But that blows up anyway.
yeah, but then it blows up anyway. Finally, like 2
And
minutes
there's a-
later, and
And
Optimus.
there's a big ass explosion.
There's
as
a big ass
Optimus, like-
explosion, and Optimus goes dramatically and by dramatically I mean comically, like tumbling in
like,
his
as
truck
in a
form.
truck form.
In his truck form, with his
It's
trailer
really
like
humorous.
perfectly still, like staying perfectly aligned with the body of the truck, like his truck body itself, and they're just like, he's just tumbling down the side of the mountain. It's hilarious looking.
It is, just as a truck. Doesn't transform and like fly away, just fucking falls down the mountain.
Yeah, and when you see the underside of his like the underside of Optimus in truck form, his wheels are like solid.
Oh yeah.
They basically look like poles, as opposed to like tires with like a small axle like connecting them. It basically
Right. Oh yeah, they're a solid cylinder.
Yeah, that's the word I'm thinking of.
They're not actual wheels. They just look like wheels on the outside.
Yeah, but they look more
Yeah.
like pipes. It's
Well, they just look like Earth vehicles, right?
yeah, fair. Yeah.
So we're on.
What a show this is.
It's a show. So bye bye Ruby. This is also why rubies are rare, because the ruby mines of Burma have been blown up. So we're on episode 3 now,
Yeah.
and the Autobots like all band together. It takes like 8 of them to roll Optimus onto his wheels.
Yeah, which are now actual wheels. They're
Which
not
I
like
was going to say they're actually wheels now.
yeah, they're not cylinders anymore.
And I love this. I died. I had to pause it because I was laughing. When they roll him over, one of them is like, "How do you feel, Optimus?" And in his truck form still, he goes, "Oh."
Oh god.
That's it. He just like groans as if he just woke up with a migraine. He's like, "Roller, what happened to him?" And apparently Roller's fine. He comes out of the mines and goes back into the back of Optimus.
Yeah. I forgot that Roller was the name of his little servo droid thing.
The little droid thing, yeah.
So-
is it too small for humans to fit in?
It looks like it's probably got like a space
sit in
for
it.
like at least 1 or 2 people could sit in. So Ratchet tells Optimus like he's like, "Oh, you should try to transform." And so we get this like really extended shot of like Optimus like straining to transform. He's like groaning and he's like it's just not working. It's like he's like straining to take a shit or something like that.
Like it's hurting and
like
it's
it-
very
like-
difficult for him to transform.
Like it's hurting him, but then finally with like enough perseverance he goes into robot form, and then he's fine.
His truck face even like vibrates like it's under like strain. It's so weird because when he's in his truck form, he doesn't have any damage. Maybe
Yeah.
if I try really hard, and there's a really slow animation of him transforming, and then he's
But-
fine.
Yeah, and then he's fine.
The
As soon-
Autobots are even like. Go ahead.
and yeah, so he goes like spends all this time like straining to like get into robot form. Like he's
While
like,
he's training, by the way, the Autobots are on the side going like, "You can do it, Optimus! Yeah, we believe." Push harder, you got it.
yeah, and he finally does it, and like once he does, like dude's fucking fine, and then he just starts giving a speech.
It's like he's going Super Saiyan. He's actually his like groans are actually like increasing in volume. Ah, ah.
Ah. Ah.
Welcome, and then Jazz says, "Welcome back to the land of moving parts." And I'm like, he was. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So then all of them are like, "Oh wait, yeah, Bumblebee, and Sparkplug were in there, right?"
Oh
And I'm
yeah,
like,
we gotta
"No,
save
you
them.
haven't been helping them.
What do we do now? Start digging. And
There's been a lot of that on Too Much Energon.
there has been, yeah, digging through mountains.
One of them has a drill gun.
Yeah, Ironhide like turns his hand into like a giant drill bit, and he I like how he takes charge here, and they Jazz finally uncovers like the little bit of cavern where Spike and Sparkplug Sparkplug and Bumblebee are hiding, and
And they're fine.
yeah, they're perfectly fine.
Somehow.
Hallelujah.
Like, maybe Bumblebee like covered, like Sparkplug. Whatever.
Yeah, why wouldn't Bumblebee like transform and be like, "Get in"? Open like his driver door up and be like, "Get in."
The hardest part of you is your skull? Yeah. But your brain is in there. Yeah, humans evolved kind of weird. Get in. Don't worry, I have my hard hat. That's how he survived.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So what are the Decepticons doing? They're like talking some shit. Soundwave's got a stack of Energon pillows, and I'm a little fuzzy on part 3, I gotta be honest.
Well, okay, so part 3, they see the Decepticons had gotten away with
Right.
multicolored Energon pillows.
Yeah.
And they go, get them. Get them. And for
Get 'em.
some reason, there's an aerial
Sick 'em.
battle. Yeah, and there's an aerial battle as
Yeah, and we see
they fight. One
yeah.
of them can teleport. One of the Decepticons.
Here we see Prowl and Ironhide flying.
But the Decepticon that can teleport, he takes them out.
Yeah. And they fall into
And,
like a little pond, and
River or something.
Yeah, he takes out Ironhide, and him and Prowl like fall into a pond, and Prowl like grabs Ironhide and like tries to save him, and I'm like, you guys were literally just flying, but like getting out of the water is a problem for you.
Well, Jazz with his winch, right?
Yeah.
He can like shoot a winch. He comes and he like shoots it and saves them. It's there's a lot of G.I. Joe-ish like saving people from water moments on this show.
Yeah.
Which, as we've seen, doesn't like they can function underwater just fine.
Yeah.
So they could have just walked out. So I find that really humorous, as if they were drowning or something.
The internal logic of this show, from a like minute to minute basis, is very like highly questionable to me.
Who was the one that? Yeah, who's the one that was injured?
Ironhide.
So Ironhide is like, this reminds me of that one time in the Battle of. Right? And I thought you told me that No, it was Cup. I always confuse Ironhide and Cup. Yeah. So I kind of get Cup vibes from Ironhide. Or Ironhide vibes from Cup.
I like
so they
Cup
put him
more out of the two, but yeah.
Yeah. And anyone listening, Cup is was introduced in the Transformers movie,
Yeah.
the like '80s one. And I think we get diary time
Transformers
with
the movie.
Spike.
Transformers the
Yeah,
real movie. Damn it.
it's very good. We actually do. If anyone's listening and is unaware, we do a what's the term when we talk and
Commentary track.
watch commentary? Yeah, we do commentary over the Transformers movie, 1985.
86.
So I always get that wrong. 86. That was fun. So we get diary time with Spike again.
Yep.
And he's like, Optimus cares a lot. He's got emotions. Well, bye, diary. I love you.
And Hound.
Oh, he's sorry, I forget. In his diary, he writes, I think Optimus would make a neat president of the United States.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So the Autobots have Ravage in a cage.
And Hound is literally hounding him.
Yeah,
like,
he's taunting him. Yeah, he's got the key and he's like dangling it in front of him, like just out of his reach. And Jazz is like, "Hey, don't be an asshole." Basically.
And growls at him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about him. The Decepticons don't care about anybody but themselves anyway. They probably don't even miss him." And Mirage turns into Megatron, or makes a Megatron
Hologram. Yeah.
hologram. Or did Hound do that? Did Hound do that? I think Hound did that. Mirage isn't here. Wait, Hound is the one that can make projections? Right. For some reason, I
Wait,
thought
yeah,
it was Mirage.
Mirage can go invisible, and Hound can make holograms. Yeah,
Right.
right.
Got it. And
Yeah.
the exchange is that, hey, wait a second, that gives Hound an idea to trick the Decepticons.
Yeah, and wouldn't you know it, after Hound has finished up, like, flicking the key around, he, like, goes to put it, like, on his side, like, but, like a fucking idiot, he drops it, like, right in front of Ravage's cage. And Ravage is able to reach out and grab it.
I thought that they purposely dropped the key. They let Ravage overhear them.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah, okay. So they were hiding, but they were doing the old maximal maneuver and hiding behind a rock as he escaped. Okay, yeah.
Did
Like
they
I
purposely let him go?
purposely let him go, yeah. Like I said
Okay.
a few minutes ago, like I'm a little fuzzy on episode 3.
Yeah. Yeah, because they go up and their Optimus is like, "What happened?" And they're like, "Ravage, he escaped." And Optimus is like, "Perfect." So they had like a faux conversation so that Ravage could bring information back to Megatron.
Yeah.
And
And,
there's some bitching back and forth between Starscream and Megatron again. He's like, "You're the leader now, but I'm the leader of the future."
Ha 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 ha.
And he says, "You couldn't lead androids to a picnic." I kind of, ha 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 ha. The play on "you couldn't lead ants to a picnic."
Yeah.
Which means that the Cybertronians do have picnics. The Decepticons know how to relax and enjoy themselves.
Wonder what a picnic would be like on Cybertron.
Oh no, they don't have parks.
Well,
Weird.
they have energy parks with water slides. We've heard Cheetor talk about them.
Oh. I'm curious now. So apparently this is Starscream's time to shine out of all of them.
Yeah, he
Because
tries
he pulls
to
out his gun.
Yeah, he tries to shoot Megatron in the back.
Yeah, but Soundwave is like, "Megatron, look out." and he forms an energy shield and quickly turns around. So Megatron's like giant like laser cannon can form an energy shield apparently,
Apparently, yeah.
and he blocks it. And Starscream stops shooting, and he kind of looks sad, and he goes, "It's empty," referring to his gun.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. And so Megatron's like, "You failed to dispose of me while you had the chance. Mistake number 2."
And Megatron blasts him, and then like in the arm, and Starscream falls to the ground, and then
And
like
grovels.
grovels, like literally like crawls toward Megatron on his knees, and is like,
Now
"Forgive
suck
me."
my dick.
Yeah.
Suck my dick, and I'll forgive you. So he sucks Megatron's dick, and all is forgiven.
uh,
He'll regret letting Starscream live. Or will he? I don't know. Actually, everything happens for a reason, right?
so
Because in the 1986 movie, they only run into Unicron because they're drifting through space.
yeah.
Fate is a fickle bitch.
Written in the stars, if you will. Because they're floating in space.
So the
Ha 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 ha.
Autobots make a. So the Autobots make a fake, like what, military base to
Yeah.
trick the Decepticons.
And they're all disguised as like human scientists, which is fucking stupid. They're like wearing lab coats and shit. It's like, oh yes, you're really going to fool the Decepticons that there are like what, like 40-foot tall like human beings wearing lab coats working at this installation.
But they don't look like humans. They're in their robot forms, just with human lab coats.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
now I'm really curious where they got those lab coats. Did they make the lab coats?
maybe Hound projected them.
Oh, like they're part of the illusion too? Well, then why didn't you make the Autobots look human?
Or just
What
make
I
a whole
think-
bunch of like fake human hologram
Which it has
scientists.
shown that he can do.
Yeah,
It's
it's so dumb.
bizarre. I actually didn't even catch that the first time I watched these. More perplexing is what I like to wait. They're not holograms because they take the lab coats off and put them down to fight.
Well, they
And-
must have one hell of a tailor.
I guess. Yeah, maybe that's what Bumblebee does on his off hours. I like to think, like, I think it's more funny to think that, like, once they took off the lab coats, the Decepticons were like, "What?" Like, do you know what I mean? They've barely been paying
What?
attention to humankind, so they actually legitimately got fooled. But as we surprise, surprise, as we find out after another WWE brawl, Megatron reveals that he was obviously a trap. Like, he sees through the whole plan. He's like, "Did you really think you could fool me by letting Ravage escape? Did you? Did you?"
Yeah. Crafty one that Megatron is.
Clever girl. He's like, "Yeah, so while you've been busy setting up this trap, I have the rest of the Decepticons attacking the real air base." And I
Yeah.
was like, why does there have to be a real air base? Also, that means that Megatron's outnumbered. He's like, "Checkmate, Optimus. I only have a few Decepticons with me." Optimus could be like, "Oh, so it'll actually be easier to beat you now?" But I guess the whole that's that villain trope of you have this like trap, but I'm attacking a bunch of humans.
Yeah. Your biggest weakness is that you care too much, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, so these humans at the army base, apparently for the last two days have been completely unaware that they're aliens, like out in the desert right beside them. They shoot laser guns
The
at the
humans?
Transformers, at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Decepticons.
Yeah, that
Or
was
am I
a
just...
that was a censorship thing.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Couldn't have bullets in children's cartoons.
Lasers are like fantasy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
That actually
somehow
like permeated like well into the 90s too.
that makes sense. Same with like maybe phasers in Star Trek, because you
Uh,
can set phasers to stun, right? Like it's more family friendly than a gun.
there were time travel episodes of Star Trek though where they did use
Oh, there
bullets.
were straight
Yeah.
up guns. Yeah.
Yeah, and plus Star Trek, like despite being like fairly like all age appropriate, it's not explicitly a kids show.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Optimus kind of gives a I don't know. Optimus kind of gives a motivational speech to all the. There's way more Autobots there than I thought there were, by the way. It's like a dump truck one. There's ones I've never even seen till now. And he's like, I need volunteers to attack and stop the Decepticons.
Yeah. And it's like, these are your troops, bro. You could just be like, all right, you, with me.
How about everybody with me?
Yeah, how about everyone
Like
with
our
me?
lives depend on it.
Yeah.
And
I
we
need
come back.
volunteers.
See,
No
if
one
it makes it
stands
seem-
up.
Come on, guys.
Bumblebee stands forward and is like, you have my axe. And then like
Jazz walks forward. And my bow.
and then like fucking no one else. Well, this'll have to do.
Well, let's go. And Mirage was there too. You just couldn't see him. So the Decepticon base is like covered with like rock. And I'm like, how did they do that? Like make a little mountain. It wasn't made inside of those rocks. Is it
Hologram,
disguised to look like rocks? Yeah, let's go with that.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and Megatron's like, oh, we're so close. And the Autobots show up to like stop the Decepticons who are ready to leave Earth. The ruby mines of Burma were like a fucking were like a ruby mine of energy. I was gonna say gold mine, but in this case, these are better.
A wellspring.
Yeah.
A veritable fountain of youth. Cheers.
There's a bunch of fighting, WWE style fighting with people throwing and grappling each other. Hound like punches the shit out of Rumble.
Yeah, Megatron transforms into a gun and gets shot or like does some shooting, and Optimus has his like trailer fire, like he's commanding his trailer, which has like this like turret sticking out of it, and he's like commanding it to fire, but then Megatron like blasts it and blows it up. So I'm like, oh, he straight up like blew up Optimus's trailer.
Which I guess you can do. Yeah.
Apparently.
Starscream goes to shoot Optimus in the back, or Megatron, unclear. And
Why not both?
Spike. Why not? And Spike throws a rock and knocks the gun out of Starscream's hand. And I'm like, dude, this is not a battle for humans. what are you doing? Like you're made of like meat. These guys are 40-foot tall, like titanium alloy, like advanced aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, more fighting goes on, and
And Optimus like body slams
Yeah,
Megatron, and he's like, "You're finished.
yeah,
Call it off. Where is she?"
yeah, he like suplexes
Strangles him.
Megatron and
Call it off.
call it off, Megatron.
And then Ravage like pounces on Optimus,
Yeah.
and the Decepticons peace out back to their space cruiser. All of them, they just retreat onto the ship.
Yep, they retreat onto the ship and then they launch.
Yeah.
And Optimus is like,
Much to my surprise.
"No."
They also made the ship look just like the Nemesis.
Yep. Hey, I mean, when you got a winning model, why change it?
Why not make it smaller? Why make a huge starship? Just make an escape vehicle. Whatever. Um, and he yells like Megatron, much like Optimus Primal
Yeah.
yells Megatron at when he takes a little space visit at the end
Yes.
of season 1.
Yes, when he goes for a little space tourism, a little scenic flight into the Planet
Yeah,
Buster. And so
and
This Optimus, like,
this is interesting. Jazz walks up to Optimus and he's like, "I guess it's over. We lost." And Optimus is like, "Hey, Sideswipe, give me your jetpack." Right?
have we seen Jet or Sideswipe fly?
No. Have I don't.
So
He has a rocket pack apparently.
so yeah, so he apparently has a jetpack, but like, have we seen him use it? Has it been mentioned at all prior to this point?
No, but he has one and he puts it on Optimus's back. But we've seen all the Autobots fly.
Yeah.
But maybe levitating, hovering slowly. Maybe it's a lot different than like a rocket needed to catch up to a starship. Maybe he needs the speed and the velocity to escape the atmosphere.
Maybe?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go with that. So he rocketeers up to the Nemesis 2, the Nemesis.
The Nemesis 2, Electric Boogaloo, Energon Boogaloo.
There you go.
And this is interesting. Megatron is in the cockpit, and he's like, it's funny because both Soundwave and Starscream are holding invisible steering wheels. Are you there? At 17 minutes? They're holding invisible.
I'm a little beyond that, but I'll go back.
Oh, okay. Doesn't matter. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, they totally are.
Again, like, why do they have multiple pilots? But or maybe they're just sitting. Are they just sitting? I don't know. And Starscream is like, looks like you fucked up again, Megatron. Prime is right outside. And again, for like the third or fourth time, Megatron's like, impossible. And I'm like, no, Starscream can see him. He's right there. It's not impossible. I don't think that word means what you think it means. He looks out the window and he goes, oh, open the artillery. And in a very anticlimactic manner, in one shot, the artillery takes out Optimus.
Yep. And he goes tumbling back to Earth. Crash lands on Earth. Doesn't really, like, you would think if he was falling like at that velocity and, as heavy as he is, like, he would probably make,
And he was
like,
shot by a starship laser, which
Yeah.
should be way bigger than a Decepticon gun.
yeah.
But he's fine. And they're like, well, you did all you could. Very interesting ending that Optimus isn't the one to finish off, like, to be the big hero,
Right.
right? Because as it's revealed, as Megatron's trying to monologue, Starscream and Megatron have a back and forth on the ship. Starscream has pulled his gun on Megatron again. And he's like, he just stands there with his hands on his hips, and he's like, okay, shoot me. If you miss, you're fucked. I'm gonna kick your ass. Do you have the balls? Do you have the balls, bitch? Bitch boy? Are you going to shoot me? Do it. I dare you. I double dare you. And like Starscream starts like sweating, and
I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
basically. And he's like, beware, Starscream. If you dispose of me, there's always going to be somebody waiting to dispose of you.
Yep.
And while that's happening, it's revealed that Mirage has been invisible on the ship. and he's on the bridge. And he's just shooting shit.
Yep.
He's just blowing shit up.
Megatron
Shooting
straight
like-
up shoots Starscream. And,
Yeah, shoots his ass.
Yep.
Yells extinction to all traitors. And I'm like, dude, what? Why didn't you kill him back on the planet?
Right? Yeah. Like, why now? Like, you had to know that this was going to be a thing.
And that it will continuously be a thing.
Yeah.
As long as he is alive. And so Soundwave and some others take control and put out fires on the ship. And Megatron's like, do something, Soundwave. And I'm like, bro, like, what? He's been doing everything. Like, what else do you want him to do? He's fighting Mirage. He's piloting the ship.
Yeah, so speaking of the ship, like, all the fire that's going on, back and forth, like, ends up fucking the ship up, and the ship goes down, and Mirage is like, well, see you later, fuckers, and, like, literally parachutes out.
He gets up. He was shot earlier, but he just opens up the door, and he's like, I'll say hello to Prime for you later.
Yeah. Peace. Jumps
Yeah,
out
Megatron
and, like,
screams,
fucking parachutes.
Stop him.
See?
Drops out like a badass.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Just imagine, like the ship, like, mayhem going on behind him, and he's just all like, I'll give my regards to... I will deliver my regards to Optimus Prime. And then he leaps out, and you just see a shot of him, like, fly, and you hear, like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Dun, 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 dun. I like that you knew where I was going with that.
As soon as you said parachute.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, the Nemesis goes down and
lands in the ocean.
And
Mirage
lands.
They're like, I wonder what happens. Maybe there was a malfunction. They built it too quickly. And one of the Autobots is like, I don't think so. And they point at the air at Mirage, literally parachuting down.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, Mirage, you did it. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And it's revealed that his parachute is actually metal. It's not designed, it's more like a glider than it is a parachute.
That's not how parachutes
And they all
work.
cheer. It's not.
And they all cheer. Dun 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 dun. Do 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 do.
And everybody laughs.
And everybody laughs.
Optimus there's a moment where he's all like, hey, I knew you were anxious to get back to Cybertron, but you could have waited for us. He's like, puts a hand on his shoulder, and he's like, well done, Mirage. And I'm like, good. Like, he literally single-handedly saved the day.
Yeah. Yeah, like you were saying, it's interesting that it wasn't Optimus Prime who actually saved the day. Optimus's attempt to save the day actually got kind of blue-balled real quick.
Completely failed.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was planning on doing. Yeah, so the humans, Spike and Sparkplug, come over and they're like, what now? And they reveal, well, we have a ship to repair of our own.
Yeah.
And Spike is like, hey guys, can I go back to Cybertron with you? He's like, can I, Dad? Can I? And Sparkplug's like, only if I can go too.
I mean, fair.
Goddamn right.
Yeah. Why not?
Autobots, transform. And we have a roll call again as they all one by one transform.
Yeah.
I've never even seen the F1 racer until now. There's a blue and white one. It's like an F1 Formula car.
Yeah, no idea who that is.
And Spike narrates like what happens in the near future. And he says, because the Autobots stopped the Decepticons from stealing all of Earth's resources, the governments of the world have agreed to give Optimus Prime the energy he needs to not only leave the planet but revitalize Cybertron. And I'm
Well,
like, since when did the governments of the world do anything?
Well, isn't that nice?
Well, that's just prime.
There you go.
Spike even writes, it's probably the first time that all of Earth's governments have ever agreed on anything. And I'm like,
wink.
But, yeah. And then he writes, well, that's it from Earth. Next stop, Cybertron. Goodbye, Journal. I love you.
Say hi to Mom for me.
Hey, Optimus, you can build more Transformers, right? Yeah, why? Can you build me a mom?
Well, we'll name her RC.
He's like, oh, and I almost forgot, Diary. The best part of all of the Decepticons are gone, and we'll never see them ever again.
Yep. Wink. Yep. So that's the end of the episode. And boy, what a treat that was. I just wish I wasn't quite as tired and allergic as I've been during this recording.
We'll just have to shoot it again.
We'll just have to do the whole thing all over again. All 3 hours of this podcast.
That's right.
So here on Too Much Energon, we rate episodes of typically of Beast Wars, but in this case, Transformers More Than Meets the Eye on the Too Much Energon scale, which ranges from not enough Energon, which is not good, to sufficient amount of Energon, which is not bad, to too much Energon, which is anything from, actually pretty good to, like, literally the best episode ever. Cal, what are you giving all 3 parts of More Than Meets the Eye?
Taking it in its entirety.
Or do it episode by episode if you want. I'm going to just do all 3.
I'm going to do them all together.
Yeah.
It's a pretty firm Too Much Energon, actually.
Oh, wow. That's
yeah.
That's more than I was expecting, to be honest.
There's a lot of like scientific problems, but they're so abundant and the plot moves so quick that it's just humorous. Like the when the hydroelectric dam goes into meltdown.
Yeah.
The ruby mines of Burma. It's like the plot moves so fast and it's so dumb, but there's so much information introduced. Like, for example, like Optimus at the very end, he fell and plummeted. And they're like,
Right.
Are you okay? And they try to help him and he's like, get away from me, I'm fine. But then Mirage used a parachute. So if what was the parachute just to show off? So little things like that, if you nitpick it, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
to be honest. But if you just take it for what it is and just all of this was like new. Like human beings wrote how wacky and crazy this shit is. Like the humans on it are named Spike and Sparkplug, for fuck's sake. So it gets a pretty firm Too Much Energon for me. Like they're actually thoroughly enjoyable. And I don't feel like there's too much information thrown at you.
That's fair. I'm giving these episodes a sufficient amount of Energon. I think they're, to be perfectly honest, pretty fucking dumb, but they're fun.
The Energon pillows.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, but like they're dumb. It's like the production is quite shoddy. The writing is very like haphazard. The characters are extremely one-dimensional.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's fun. If for nothing else,
it's just so weird.
Then Optimus being all like, "Thanks," with a thumbs up. That just
and Megatron continuously saying very predictable things are actually impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. So that has been this special bonus episode of Too Much Energon. If you want to support the show and you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, be sure to give us a 5-star rating because that helps us out with discoverability. Or whatever your podcast provider of choice is. Give us a rating on that. I found out recently that someone actually listens to us on Audible, of all things. I didn't even know that that Audible offered podcasts.
We didn't even know we were on there.
Yeah, so give us a rating. If you want to get in touch with us, send us an email at toommuchenergon@outlook.com or on social media, on Twitter at toommuchenergon, or if you want to get in touch with me personally, at Lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. Cal, you have a Twitter now, I believe.
Yeah, it's just Neo_Cal.
You can also reach me on Instagram at Christopher Siege, SIEGE. We will be back next week with the first episode of the 3rd season of Beast Wars, Optimal Situation, picking up immediately where the Agenda Part 3 left off.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
So,
how many seasons are there?
3. We're entering the final season of Beast Wars. So,
oh shit.
What a wild ride it's been.
This is going to be wild.
So keep an eye out for that. It's extremely late and I'm very tired, so we're going to get out of here now. I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm your other host, NeoCal.
And until next season, roll out.
Impossible. Thanks.
Thanks. Do 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 do.